You are now rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast, where they think they know everything, but honestly, they don't know shit.
Watch these summer league games and they tell you about these new up-and-coming coaches.
I think we should give it to every motherfucking owner in Chicago.
Enzo and Caruso, both when they are on the court, are like your defensive generals.
But they need to get that strong safety who's not scared to hit somebody.
They really don't know shit.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the podcast where we think we know everything, but we don't know shit. But what we do know is we got a jam-packed ass show for you tonight. We got, well, I ain't gonna tell you who we got, but we got two guys, two hometown heroes up tonight that we're gonna talk to. And man, I love these guys, both of them. So from basketball and football. So we're gonna talk to them, but also we're gonna talk about the Bears' chances against the Eagles. I mean, I'll never say never, but yeah, it doesn't necessarily look good. I mean, the Eagles are 12-1. They're operating on all cylinders. The good thing is they may not even play their starters. Well, is that really a good thing, or I don't know. But they may not even play their starters. They don't even have to. But I mean, shit, you got Jalen Hurts, you got Dante Smith, you got AJ Johnson. I mean, come on, man. AJ Green, I think. I fucked up his name. I don't remember. But anyway, you got all kinds of threats on the Eagles, and their defense is no slouch either. So, but like I said, they may not even play their starters. Why? But I don't think they want to take a loss to the Bears. I just don't. But yeah, so let me bring my guys in here, man. Let me start with my man, the stat man, who knows every single stat from the 80s and 90s, basketball and football. My man, J to the motherfucking B. JB!
What up, T? What up? What up?
What up with you, man? How you feeling, brother?
Man, long day. Can't wait for this Christmas break to come, man, but you know how it is.
Yeah, man, I hear you, bro. So real quick, what do you think the chances are that the Bears will upset the Eagles on Sunday? in one word.
No. No.
Wow. Wow, we okay. And with
It's too,
that,
I mean, you got a chance to a winnable game. A team is 12-1, and why wouldn't you put this away? Considering the Vikings just lost their third game, get yourself a little cushion. Cowboys just won, so they're trying to close the gap, and you still got to play them at the end of the season. Go on and get that win, knock it out the park.
I hear you.
But just
what up, man?
Throw something out there. Hey, man.
Juanita. What?
Roquan Smith, 6 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and an interception. Damn.
He's not a Bear anymore, so I ain't gonna talk about that. He's not a Bear anymore.
Bears didn't play this week, so that's all I had.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. But just like we stopped talking, most of us stopped talking about Mitch once he wasn't a Bear anymore. I don't talk about Roquan no more. He ain't a Bear no more.
Hey, irony. Guess who Roquan intercepted? Mitch.
Mitch. Well, yeah, we ain't got neither one of them no more. So anyway, so let's bring up. He's not the rookie anymore. Well, Foulmouth C, he couldn't join us. Something fell out the sky and hit him in the head. So he's not gonna be here. No, seriously. He does. Wow, did you just say that? You didn't just say that. But
I'm just
seriously,
playing.
He's sick. He's sick, so he doesn't feel well. So he's not gonna be here tonight. But
get better, Foulmouth. Get better.
Yeah, get better, Foulmouth. Please get better. We need your Foulmouth ass on the podcast, man. But we do have our guy who's not the rookie anymore. And he has that Hawk talk. But I don't think we'll be talking any Hawks tonight. My man, Frank the Tank.
Hawks are playing tonight.
Yes.
So they at least had a game this week. The Bears didn't. What's up, guys? Don Burr, fuck you.
No.
Go home,
Don
Burr.
Burr's back. Hey,
Go home, Burr. We just started, Don. Don't need your shit.
Don look. Hey, they look good.
Weekend, man.
Look, I was tempted to put a buck down on that spread because they was Vikings was given 2.
That's one thing that I will say. Did Jared Goff earn you the starting quarterback spot next year? Because I think he did. They're not going to draft the quarterback in the first round. I think he is playing good enough to give it one more year. And that's why if the Bears do still pull out the number 2 pick, we're not going to be able to trade down for a quarterback because, I think it hurts that Jared Goff is looking pretty damn good. That beach boy looking piece of shit. I hate him. I hate him because he's a Lion, though. I hate everybody in the Lions. Love you, Don Burr, but I hate you because you're a Lion.
Damn. Sorry, Sherry.
Oh, I love Sherry, too. I just hate the Lions.
So we got one more that we're going to bring in. The rookie, the actual rookie. He has his own show on Thursday. Easy does it. But he's gonna come in here today because he wants to talk to our guest for a quick second. My man, Easy.
What is up, guys? How we doing?
What's up, Easy?
What up?
We didn't lose on Sunday, which is cool.
We did not.
We did not lose, which is a step in the right direction. I didn't know, Frank. I wasn't aware you hated the Lions so much. See, I feel bad for the Lions. The only team I really have enough hate for is Green Bay. And I mean, I guess I don't care. I don't like them.
I hate everybody in our division. It's just nobody I hate more than the Packers.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess I'm just like the Lions are like, eh.
The Lions finally have a solid team. So.
They're an afterthought to me. But to me, it's like, it almost feels like it's all of us against Green Bay and sometimes, not always. But
you're right.
it's like when the Vikings play the Packers, it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I definitely root for the Vikings in those cases. However, this season sucked, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Lions mess around and get one of them playoff spots, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I mean, they're
honestly,
not going to go anywhere, though, regardless. They're not good
They
enough
probably
to go
won't,
anywhere, but
like,
they are
even if
going
they
in the
did,
right direction.
I just wouldn't mind as much as if it was Green Bay. Like the Lions fans have never given me a reason to dislike their team. The only reason I dislike them is because we play twice a year. But I guess it's really just Green Bay that that grinds my gears.
As it should, but think of it like this. It's like the Lions making the playoffs is like, oh shit, the Lions made the playoffs. Like what? We can't say that about Green Bay because they always make the damn playoffs. So to hell with
They're
them.
making it this year, though.
You know,
That's my line of thinking.
Anytime if we don't get to win, anytime the Vikings, whoever, anybody's playing the Packers, I always want their team to win.
So let me ask Frank and Easy the same question I asked you, JB.
Mm-hmm.
What are the Bears' chances of winning on Sunday?
0. -2.
If they stand on the field, they got a chance, right?
Our defense will not be able to stop them from getting 35 points. I mean, that's just.
I give the Chicago Bears 0.1% of a chance of winning on Sunday. Yeah. So 0.1%.
If there's any chance the Bears win,
0.1% chance.
It's because the Eagles lost.
That means less than 1%. Less than 1%.
1% chance is already a decimal, but you said a decimal.
Yes, a decimal of a decimal.
Damn.
Hey,
because
here's the under over. Here's the under over.
Eagles are good and they're hot right now. Like they happen to be playing really good football.
I mean, who knows? They could come in and shit the bed though because they think this is going to be an easy walk. Exactly. And then the Bears give them a fight at least, but still, when it comes down to the end, there's no way we're winning.
That is the 0.1% that that chance that the Eagles just lay down. But even if the Eagles do lay down, I just don't see like the Bears don't have.
Eagles are still
not going to
and
lay
honestly,
down.
If I'm being honest, I'm at the point where I'm looking long term. I don't necessarily like if we win, yay, Justin, but I don't necessarily want that for the team. I'll be honest, and I think that's fair at this point.
Thomas, what's up, man?
Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. But they're not gonna win. They're fully loaded again. Everybody's fully healthy. I believe Dallas Goedert comes back this week, which there is a stud tight end. There's no way the Bears win this game. But the under over bet is how many sacks will Robert Quinn have of Justin Fields? That's the over under bet.
I'm gonna go. I'd put it at 1.5.
So 1.5, 2. I
give
can
him
go for
half
that.
a sack. I don't think he's going to do shit, actually. He'll have one tackle all game.
That's probably the most logical.
So, as of right now, the Bears are sitting on what, number 3?
Third pick, yeah.
Third pick.
Thanks a lot, Denver.
Fucking Denver. Come on, Russ.
So, do we
I can't blame Russ. Russ got hurt. He played good.
Yeah, he did get hurt, but they still would have lost with him in the lineup, too.
Do we make sure we lose all the rest of our games?
Mm-hmm.
We have a chance. You all pay attention. Denver has to play who next? Arizona.
Didn't even look.
Who just got hurt?
Kyler
Murray.
And Russell Wilson.
Denver,
Russell Wilson. Is Russell Wilson
Russell Wilson might, they say he's like he might clear. But
they probably just sat him to sit his ass.
No,
they have no
he got hurt. I know. I'm just saying maybe
he had a contusion on his skull.
I did see that.
He got the
I did see that.
And credit to him, he played a good game. He finally showed up. Like he looked healthy up until the end there. So that's good. I guess the thing is the Broncos, they have no incentive to lose, so they're not going to tank by any means.
No, they have every incentive to because remember they
Seattle
gave up their pick to Seattle, so they they're playing for somebody else to take their pick. So
exactly. So they might as well, try to get as many.
And Arizona's playing for nothing right now, especially without their starting quarterback. They got nothing.
Expect Kingsbury to be fired this offseason.
I didn't even look at Denver's schedule. Do they even have a hard schedule the rest of the year?
Kingsbury's going to be fired, and he's going to become the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. You heard it here first.
Really?
What makes you think that?
Because he was a backup for Tom Brady for a few years early on, and
He was.
Belichick liked bringing those guys back sometimes. And he does have some good offensive ideas. You know, that's why he got hired in the first place. So that's my line of thinking.
Interesting.
Okay.
We'll see. And he's
No, I
better
actually like that. For him, I actually like that. It's McDaniels that I'm thinking should be fired on the spot because he's just a damn idiot. You just
I completely agree.
You targeted Devontae Adams 5 times.
I completely agree.
I don't get it. Like, it's just I don't get what people are doing right now. Like, what the hell are the Raiders doing?
The Raiders are
Raiders.
And flipping over back to Denver. Let's not forget who Denver plays after Arizona.
The Chiefs.
Is it the Chiefs? Okay, after the Chiefs, then too, they play the Rams. The Rams don't have a first-round pick either.
All right, they don't.
They traded with Stafford, so they're going to want to win too.
Yeah.
So hey, I mean, things are looking good for us to at least.
So you think the Rams will be looking for a QB?
They just got Baker, so no.
Yeah, they just got Baker. I forgot about.
I don't know if I can say that their quarterback
Baker came to play.
He looked good.
Let's be real. That win for
really
the Rams, that was a very impressive win by Baker Mayfield.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not like the Raiders, like their defense, I know struggles a lot, but they have two legit pass rushers in Crosby and Chandler Jones to go in there, make checks at the line, change the plays, make some audibles, and have that good chemistry with your receivers. That's a really, really good performance from Baker Mayfield. Like props to him.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. And this is
we only had 2 days of practice.
Exactly. That's impressive. Regardless of what I'm about to say, and this is not a tear down of Baker, but the other team lost that game too with some stupid ass penalties.
Absolutely.
It was awful, the penalties that they were taking. But at the same time, hey, Baker still did it. Good for him. Hey, kudos. Good for him.
The Raiders pretty much exist at this point, like as a team to choke and get beat and give other teams like historic wins against somebody. You know, they don't play football. Football happens to them.
Football happens to them. They're just
let's flip Devontae Adams' decision to go to the Raiders too. Do you think he would have been better off with Green Bay, and Green Bay would have been better this year? Because I think so.
Oh yeah,
no, I
still think so.
But I don't think the decision the decision wasn't the problem. The problem is Josh McDaniels is one of those guys that thinks he's the smartest guy in the room instead of letting your gut
absolutely
actually playing the game.
That's true. But I mean, if it was in Green Bay, they would win more. There's no question about that.
True, but they have some like stupid record about losing by one score or less. You know, they got one of those stupid things.
Yeah,
it always comes down to him making the dumbest play calls at the wrong time. It's like, come on. First of all, I don't care what nobody says. David Carr is not a bad quarterback.
I think he's better than, say, Kirk Cousins. I think he's better than Kirk Cousins.
And when you give him a weapon like that, when Waller comes back, Hunter Renfrow and them boys are actually playing. Josh Jacobs is probably like the best running back this season. You see the deficiency is not the players, it's the coaching.
Yeah.
So when you call those bonehead plays, it's almost like Devontae Adams looking at you like, dude, I'm burning Jalen Ramsey and you target me 5 times. Like, what am I here for?
Right.
Jalen Ramsey's been getting burnt a lot this year.
All right. So what I think is that we should curb this discussion until later because we have one of our hometown heroes in here.
Somebody I always wanted on the Bears.
Before I say his name, I got a little clip that EZ put together. And we are going to press play on that right now. And then you should know his name. So let's go ahead and do that. So, do I even
Jazz Tech
need to
beat.
say his name? Pierre
Say his
Thomas.
name. Say his name.
Pierre Thomas. And I have a question. What's up, P?
What's up? How y'all doing?
So that Bears clip in there, was that the Bears game where you basically said, I'm here and I'm about to run y'all for like 240 yards?
He did.
He had a big
There
game.
were 2 times I actually did that, but no, I think that was the second time. But I do like that little highlight, man. It brought me back. It brought me back. I appreciate that. Alex.
No doubt, man. That's easy. Put that together.
Appreciate you, Easy.
Yeah, of course,
I
of
like
course.
that,
As I was
man.
putting it together, I was like, man, this guy, like, I always, thought of you as a very underrated running back, but like, man, you could really lower the boom. Like you had that thunder approach and the lightning quickness. That was pretty cool to see.
Well, I appreciate it. I can tell you one thing. That surprised a lot of guys out there I was playing against. One person I would say that everybody knows from Chicago, Urlacher. When we played against him, he told me, he was like, man, you hit harder than what you look like, man. He's like, you little, but you don't look like you hit that hard. And he said you run hard. So just hearing that from him, the type of dude he is and what he's done out there on that field, it's good to hear that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I always said one thing that I loved about you is when you hit the holes, man, like you didn't hesitate. Like you never slowed down, stopped, look for the hole, look for something to get set up. Like, was that a lot on your offensive lineman always giving you great holes, or is that just on your phenomenal vision that you always had?
Well, I mean, I would say definitely my old lineman is the start of it. I did not do my job, what I was supposed to do as a running back. My style was more of a heavy downhill, not too agile, but I do what makes it work out there on the field for myself. But I got to give my respect to my old lineman because the boys put in a lot of work and they make things happen, not only for myself, but, they did it for Drew as well.
I'm thinking about that. You obviously credit your offensive line. And something I noticed also when I was just going through highlights is a lot of your plays, you were following like Big Heath Evans. And, I noticed, that's, good style of football, having that fullback in there, paving the way. And you don't see that as much in today's NFL. Can you speak a little more to that and maybe about like whether or not you think playing with a fullback might help some teams in some capacity today? Or I just like your thoughts on that.
I mean, yeah, you start to see it as the years went on that the fullback position was dying down. A lot of teams wasn't using the fullback as much, but the fullback is very crucial, especially those short gains, man. Those dudes are the ones who are built for those short, a 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. Those are the type of dudes that are built for that. So you need those type of dudes. I mean, yeah, us running backs are fast and explosive, but the fullbacks, they're used to carrying that heavy weight and taking on that big pile and pushing a pile like that. Because, you need those big guys to be an extra lineman that's right there in front of you to help, plow the hole and also move the hole and move the crowd. So I think that we need to bring it back, but I mean, you see it now, like you said, they're not going to bring it back. They're using a lot of scat backs. They're looking a lot of fast, agile guys, which is exciting to see as a fan. Also out there as a player, a opposing player, you see somebody does a crazy move. Like I seen Reggie Bush do so many crazy moves when I was playing with him. But it's just, you just see the game is starting to shift that way. And you see they stop trying to do that big I formation and with the big guy leading you downhill. It's starting to die down.
Mm-hmm.
So Peter, let me ask you this. When you came out, you got that Big Ten grind behind you, U of I and all that. When you first got to New Orleans, did you feel that they were going to have that 1-2 punch with you and Deuce McAllister, and then following that next year when they got Reggie, that kind of like changed everything?
Well, Reggie was there before me. I came right after Reggie the following year. Mm-hmm. And I really, coming in, I didn't know what to expect. A lot of people was telling me that, that wasn't the best move to go to New Orleans for myself. Really? They just drafted Reggie Bush. They got Deuce. They had Aaron Stecker there. They were stacked in the backfield. And I told, I was looking at it as like, this is an opportunity for me to learn from these guys and to go into this level and show them what I can do. I wasn't drafted high. I wasn't first round, second round. I wasn't even drafted at all. And I just told myself, and I wanted to show the NFL is like, look, you passing up on guys just like me who's hungry and who knows what the fuck to do out there on that field and want to go out there and play hard-nosed football. And I'm gonna show you what it takes. And don't look past on guys like myself, because we will do whatever it takes to go out there and make ourselves successful and the team successful.
You damn sure did that.
For sure. For sure.
Appreciate it.
Starting at Mount Carmel.
Oh,
Mount Carmel, where I went to school. That's where he started.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Carmel was a little iffy on my side, man. I got a bad story or a bad taste with Mount Carmel, if you want to say, man. They did me kind of dirty, so I had to get up out of there.
Really?
Yeah, Mount Carmel did me wrong.
That's crazy, because our mutual friend G-Ball, he rave about Mount Carmel.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Mount Carmel got I met a lot of good guys, like Greg Owens.
G-Ball, Greg Owens, Church.
Yeah. He went to Northern. Honestly, I would say like he was the best running back we had. Like he could outbeat me at any time. Like this dude has size. We're in high school, like freshman. This dude is like 220 and like 5'8". And I mean, like not fat, stacked. Like he was huge. I was just like, good God. And there was a point that I actually outbeat him. I outperformed him. And I'm looking like, how the hell did that happen? It was mostly, and I mean, Greg will tell you this. I think the only reason why I outperformed him is he had stone hands, man. He has good hands, bro. He couldn't catch the ball. He was fighting the hell out of it, but boy, can that man run, and was he hard to bring down, because that dude was big. I also knew he had asthma as well, but that didn't stop him from, tearing up the field as he did. But Carmel, for me, man, it was just a different type of vibe. When I first got there and we did the tryouts, they tried to put me at receiver. They looked at me and see my height, my size. They was like, yeah, let's put you at receiver. Let's try receiver, because I was with the running backs at first, and that's when they told me to, you're a little too small for this position. I'm looking like, what the fuck? I said, you just don't know me. So, I mean, I couldn't really say nothing right then and there. So, I kept telling them, like, yo, I'm a running back. I'm not a receiver. I said, I can catch, but I'm not a receiver. And they was like, no, you go with the receivers. You're going to do what we tell you to do. I said, all right. I got to listen to them because they're the coaches. I'm not going to be disrespectful. So I went over there with the receivers, but I'm sitting over there eyeing the running backs as they're going through their drills, and I'm not paying attention to the receiver drills. But towards the end, I remember this is, I think, our first day of tryouts. Towards the end, they had this drill. I want to say it was like an Oklahoma drill or whatever it was. Guys on their backs, and on sound of the whistle, you get up and you try to hit the person.
Yeah, I hated that drill.
I love that drill. That was my drill. So, they was telling receivers and DBs to go against each other. So I went against the DBs. I'm killing the DBs. And then running backs, tight ends, and, against the linebackers. And I see them as they go, and I'm just like, man, fuck this. I was like, yo, I just walked in the middle. I said, give me the ball. It's like, get your ass out of there, Thomas. And I'm like, fuck that. Give me the ball. I said, I don't give a fuck what linebacker you put up. Give me the ball. So they put up one of their biggest linebackers. I can't remember his fucking name. It was a big linebacker. I just know that. He was a freshman as well. He was one of their bigger linebackers. And I said, I don't care who it is. Just let's go. So they put against, and they blew the whistle. I got up and I ran that motherfucker over. And then right then and there, they was like, yeah, running back. I was like, yo, I told you I'm a fucking running back. Next day, I'm at the running back position. I'm just like, and they was looking at me like, okay. I said, and I was like, yeah, don't doubt me, man. Don't doubt my size. Don't doubt what I can do. I'm going to show you exactly what I can do. Everybody doubted me, and I proved them all wrong.
Who was the coach? Cesniak?
Oglesby.
Oglesby.
Yeah, he was like the wrestling coach.
He was the typing teacher.
Yeah.
I remember
coach, Oglesby, yeah. But my thing with Mount Carmel, like I said, I got into it with Frank Lindsay over something stupid. It was like a lock for the locker room.
I think Lindsay got into it with a lot of people.
Yeah, he did. And I mean, I was starting at the time, and then when I got into it with him over a fucking lock, because my lock had got broken into, and I had a spare lock on me in my bag, and I put it on my locker, and the next day I come to practice, and it's a new lock on my locker, and I'm just like, what the hell? I can't get into this. I don't know this combination. So I run to Jackson Park to tell coach why I'm late and why I'm not dressed. And he tells me to go back and talk to Frank Lindsay where they're practicing, at Mark Carmel on the side of the field. Next to the school. So I went over there and told him I took him out of practice. He was like, look, that's $5 for the lock. Because he took me to his office. He gave me the proper lock that I need to put on my locker because they said they didn't like. I guess they didn't approve of a blue lock. I believe that's what it is. This is true story. This is straight facts.
Oh my God!
Were black, and I had a blue one. I put it on my locker just because my locker had got broken into. That was the only thing I had on me, just to make sure all my equipment was safe. And the next day I'll come back. But that's when I seen the new lock. So he took me to his office, gave me a new lock. He said, that's $5 for the lock. I gave him $5. And he said, that's an extra $5 for wasting my time, for making me come down here out of practice to give you a lock. I said, look, I gave you the $5 for the lock. If you want that extra $5, you have to speak to my mom's. Mom's going to have to handle that because I'm not going to say nothing. So I walked out his office. I got dressed and went to practice. After practice, told Mom. Mom was like, word? All right, stay here. I'm in the car. She goes into his office. She comes back. We go home. I said, what happened? She was like, I just talked to him. I said, all right. Next day, I ain't starting. I'm barely practicing. And basically, that was just the end of it for the season. I was just like, you know what? If that's how they do here at Mount Carmel, I don't even want to be a part of this organization. I don't want to be a part of this team. So I never came to practice. We still was in the season. Guys was pissed at me, but when I told some of the dudes the story, they understood. And they was like, man, we hear you. And I was just like, and I was getting to too many fights, and I was just like, I gotta get the hell out of here. Because it's not for me. It wasn't for me. So that's cool. And they did me dirty too towards the end, because I want to say it was kind of, if some people say it was racist, almost like the Varsity Blues movie I got treated, where if we were behind the 50-yard line, I get the ball. So I had to run at least like 60, 50 yards, 70 yards for a touchdown. But when we get to like the 30, they give it to this white guy named Harney. I can't remember. I think it was Michael Harney. I don't know. Michael Henry Harney, something like that. They gave it to our white fullback or our tailback, and he kept scoring like every time when we get closer to the end zone. So I was just
you got the glory, but you did the work.
Yep. So we are
in the world of fantasy, we call them touchdown vultures.
Yeah, that's how Mark Carmel did.
I call them assholes.
You can talk to Greg Owens, man. He talked about the same thing that I said, because he said he said you left just in time. He said, man, I wish I would have got up out of there, but he couldn't. He had to stay.
So where'd you go after Carmel?
You went to
TF South.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Remember,
Did you ever play Mount Carmel after that and light their asses up?
Oh man, I wanted to so bad. We had an opportunity my senior year in high school. We made it to the semifinals. We played, and I know I was paying attention. I see Mount Carmel made it as well, and then they made it to championship down there at U of I. We lost to Bloomington, and Bloomington played Mount Carmel that year.
Oh, so you
that would have been sweet.
I did everything in my soul and body that I tried to get to that fucking championship title, man, because I wanted to replay them so bad. I just wanted a rematch against them for what happened to me. So
yeah,
I even said in the paper a couple of times that I was looking forward to them.
I bet.
Yeah.
Wow. So then you went to U of I and tore it up.
You can say that.
You tore it up.
Yeah, you tore it up.
You being modest.
No, I was still the underdog. They had their guy E.B. Halsley. I don't know if you guys remember that name.
I remember.
He was their starting running back.
I liked him. I like you way better than him.
Well, I appreciate that, but that's not what happened. They liked him more than me. So,
I feel like we missing a name, Pierre. I feel like it was who was the other running back? Because that was
So it was E.B. Halsley. Well, before E.B. was Morris Virgil, and before Morris, I think it was Rocky. Rocky Harvey was.
Rocky Harvey. That's
he was before Morris. So Rocky was 4 years older than me. So by the time I got it, he was out of school already. I think 4 or 5 years ahead of me. But he was out of there before I got there. And the people that was in the backfield at the time I was there was Morris Virgil, E.B. Halsley, and Marcus Mason.
Mhm.
Those was the running backs there when I got there as a freshman. And we had a couple of good fullbacks. Brian Groskowski, he was a good one. He was a Golden Gloves boxer at I want to say Downers Grove. I'm not really sure, but he was a beast. I liked him. Brian was a good running back / fullback. He didn't have the size of a fullback, but he ran hard. He was hard nosed for the fullback. But like I said, EB was their guy. I just made sure I touched that field. That's all that mattered to me. You know, I didn't care about sharing the load. I just knew when my time got in, I was going to take full advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Easy.
Oh yeah. So I wanted to ask, and you kind of talked about a little bit how you played a little wide receiver. You know, they had you playing wide receiver a lot in practice, and then you moved over to running back. And in the NFL, obviously, you know, you're a great running back. But one of your main skills that I noticed, especially putting together highlights, is, you know, you were so good at these screen passes. And obviously the biggest screen pass that comes to mind, you know, when thinking about Pierre Thomas is the one you scored in the Super Bowl. First ever Saints touchdown in the Super Bowl, which had to be pretty cool.
Yep.
And, you know, that comes in a sequence of plays where I guess y'all did this onside kick right before the half. And I remember that blew my mind. I was 13 at the time, just like, I can't believe they did this, but it's really cool that they did. So can you just kind of take me to that, you know, go back to 2010 Miami and, you know, the onside kick leading up to you scoring a touchdown and then eventually winning the Super Bowl?
Well, right before half, you know, we were driving down the field. We thought we were going to score that touchdown right before the half. Well, we got stopped right there on the one.
Should have gave it to you.
Yeah, they gave it to Bill a couple of times, and Sean got pissed at him because he didn't have the right cleats on. And, you know, I tried my best. I knocked down 2 defenders, but they was holding on my leg, and they still held on. But well, as we was going into the locker room, you know, halftime was going. We had a long halftime. And it was, I want to say, 5 minutes right before we was about to head out. Sean brought the whole team up, you know, gave a good speech, and he said, we're going to do an onside kick. Now, I can tell you right now, the look on everybody's face was like, what the fuck did he just say? What did he just say? Are we gonna, is he serious? But we know Sean is ballsy. We know he doesn't care. He's going to do whatever it takes. And to be honest with you, so when he said it in my head, I'm like, yo, that's going to work because nobody is going to expect that. Mm-hmm. Nobody is going to expect that. Who comes out in the second half on the onside kick? You know? Exactly.
Ballsy. You said
I like it too.
It's gutsy and ballsy. It's like that's Sean, and that's how he is.
Risk reward, right?
He's not scared. He's not scared. He knows what he can do, and he just says, "Stop me." You know, that's his mentality. So going out there, everybody was psyched. Everybody was hyped, and I mean, I knew we was getting it. So I was just telling the offense, like, "Yo, let's get ready," because on this drive, and we all knew, like, we're scoring. So. Mm-hmm. Once we got it back, you know, we took the momentum over and we started driving the field. And we knew when I heard the play in the huddle, I knew it was like, okay, this is the time for me to score. This is the time for me to put our team in the lead, to score and to make things happen. And to be the first to score in the New Orleans Saints' first ever Super Bowl, attendance and victory. I mean, I can't don't express that. You know what I mean?
Oh no, of course, no. It's like you're forever. Sorry, my dog is going a little crazy. No, but it's like you're forever etched in history. You know, as like the guy who did it. You know, for the first time. You got that first touchdown for the Saints.
Yeah.
Feed your dog, man. Feed your damn dog.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tremendous feeling, and I mean, I was honored to have my name called, and like you said, screen passes was my bread and butter. The reason why is because I worked with my offensive lineman. I always, you know, talk to them. I said, you know, I'm going out when you guys go out. You know, I want to make sure I'm on the same page. I feel like to be a good running back, you need to correlate and, you know, communicate with your offensive lineman because those dudes are where it starts first. And you want to move with them, you know, because let's be honest, those dudes are not that fast. I mean, they're strong as shit, but they're not that fast. So you got to be able to let them get out in front and not be too shifty. You know, you got to let them get on their guy. And, you know, they only have one direction half the time. They're not shifty. So you can't sit here and make a cut and try to make another cut, and it's going to throw your offensive lineman off their path. You got to follow their path, and you just got to make that one cut. You got to make sure they're on their guy. So me knowing that and studying and going in the film room with them, going in their room and just talking to them and watching that and just asking which guy, all my guys actually, how do they feel getting off the line? Do you need to take time? Do you want me to take a couple steps? Like just correlating all that together really helped us to be a tremendous offensive screen passing team.
Yeah, everything always seems so coordinated in that offense. Just everything down to the last detail, timing wise. Is my mic being weird?
Yeah, we don't know what the fuck you just said.
I heard him.
It's just some feedback. But Pierre, let me backtrack just a little bit because I always like to ask this, especially from our local products. What made you choose U of I? Because we know a lot of those cats from the south suburbs, the Walter Youngs, Greg Lewises, Simeon Rices went to U of I, went to the league. What made you choose U of I?
It was really, my cousin was helping me with that. My cousin Quentin Crockett. He was helping me out with the choice of what college I would go to. I was getting letters from basically all the Big Ten. I got some from UCLA, Kansas State. I was getting them from all over, but U of I was my choice because my whole thing was to play right away. I didn't want to redshirt. I wanted to go to a school where, the running backs wasn't stacked like that, and my cousin, he's a big sports fan. He loves watching sports, and he was really into it. I'm pretty sure he still is, but he's not too much into football since I stopped playing. But he's still watching here and there. But he was the one who really, gave me the info on what schools I should go to and where I can actually play and start and try to make something out of myself at that university.
Gotcha.
So do you still watch the Saints now?
Here and there. I try to catch a few games. I don't get a chance to watch all of them because I'm trying to stay busy on my end.
Right.
Not playing anymore, not making that same type of money. So I got to let my money make that money. So
right,
I'm trying to stay busy with business, and I watch them here and there. One person, I love Alvin Kamara. He's an unbelievable running back.
Yeah, he's a monster.
It was crazy because a lot of people, I remember when they first got him, a lot of people kept calling me. It was like, yo, P, we got somebody whose balance is freakish just like yours. And I'm just like, well, who are you talking about? And that's when they told me about Alvin Kamara. And I'm just like, okay, let me check this guy out. And just seeing him and the work he's doing, that kid is better than me. He can catch, he's quick, he's agile. He has power. He's basically a total package. The kid he's nice. You gotta take your hat off to some of these guys as they come in, after you and just, appreciate good talent when you see it. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the lucky, picks that they got out of this kid right now. Alvin Kamara has plenty more years to play, and he's doing a tremendous job out there on that field. And I wish him nothing but the best of luck.
Right. No doubt. One more thing before I have to leave. I just want to say real quick. Sorry, my mic is glitching. I want to ask, and I ask this to all our guests before we go, who's your Super Bowl pick? And I'm going to mute myself with that. So, yeah.
Who's my Super Bowl pick?
Yes, sir.
It's going to be tough this year. Even though I know they're not going to be, and it's always the Bears, because I'm from Southside Chicago. I'm a Bears fan.
They ain't going.
Bears is always number one for me, but I know that it's just not going to happen. So, I would say the Saints after that, but I know that's not going to happen looking at how they're doing now.
The Red Rifle.
It's a toss-up between – it's tough because I'm stuck between Philly and the Chargers. To me, for some odd reason, the Chargers are looking nice to me.
Once they get healthy.
Once they get healthy, they were looking real nice to me.
I was at the game Sunday night. It was awesome. It's a great game.
But Philly is also looking good. I know their team is I think they get their did they get their second loss or their first loss?
They only have one.
12-1. Yeah. 12-1.
Yeah. I know they're looking real good.
Now they're playing the Bears, so we know they're going to be 13-1.
And shit, hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully Bears can pull some shit off. They've been pissing me off a little bit here and there, but hey, still my squad. I'm still gonna ride for them.
We should get into a little bit.
Yeah, let's dig in that a little bit. Let's dig into that a little bit because obviously, I mean, we got this freak of nature quarterback. This God-sent quarterback we've been waiting on. All right, we've been waiting on because hell, you watched football from the time you were little. The Bears haven't had a quarterback to that magnitude ever.
Yeah.
Right? Ever. So us three on the panel, we have a little bit of controversy that's brewing between us. Like, what do you think the Bears should do and put around them? Because clearly you come from a system to where Sean Payton was very good at accentuating what Drew Brees needed.
Mm-hmm.
He was very good, or whoever the GM was, but I always like to credit Sean Payton, But what do you think is going on with that right now? Because I don't want to call it fool's gold, but how we lead the league in scoring since like the last 6 weeks, but we can't win a game. Like, it's not making sense.
Because we can't stop teams from scoring.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Defense is definitely going to have to step this game up. I mean, it's something going on with the front office, man. I don't really know what they're thinking about letting a couple of these guys go. Like Mac, like I don't know why they let him go. He was one of the players that was making things happen for us as well. Hicks as well, big guy up front, can stop the whole because I played with him. He always did a hell of a job with the Saints. He came from New Orleans and played with him. And all offensive side, you gotta think about that quarterback. So you got a good quarterback, you got to protect the quarterback. So the offensive line, is number one, is that they're gonna have to look into, and then start getting some playmakers, that's out there on the wide. And I think the receivers are good receivers. It's more of the quarterback needing time and just everybody getting on the same page because it looks like things are not on the same page. Coaches are calling the wrong type of plays. It looked like a mess. It's just chaotic out there on that field. And I mean, it's hard for me to look at sometimes because I'm like, I can't watch this shit. So, and also just
let me ask you this, Pierre, like, is a big part of that though is every single coach, the GM on this regime are rookies. They're all brand new. None of them really, I mean, they're all learning as they go too. And I think everybody knew this year was pretty much a throwaway year. Mm-hmm. We wanted to see what we got. We wanted to see who's going to be a part of this future. And unfortunately, when we're bringing up like Hicks and Mac and all them, as much as I love them, I hate to see them leave, but they couldn't stay healthy here in Chicago, and they were all making big money as well. Other than the Roquan Smith situation, other than he wanted a lot of money, but he is pretty much one of the best linebackers in the NFL. But when we're looking into next season, the Bears have 10 draft picks, a possible at least top 3 pick in the draft, and close to $130 million in salary cap next year. They're breading for next year.
Yeah, they can't. They need to because they can't be penny pinching like they've been doing.
Yeah, they are penny pinching.
They penny pinching like a mother. I mean, they got to let that money go if they want to win championships. Because if you got to spend money to make money. That's what they say. You got to spend money to make money. So
you got to put good money behind good money. That's what it is.
And that's all it is. Is that if you want a dominant team, if you want to win that Super Bowl, you got to get guys who's going to make things happen. And it might cost you. Yeah. So they got to stop penny pinching. If they stop penny pinching, we can. I mean, I think the Bears will start looking good. But then also,
And one more thing too, and you brought up the offensive lineman. We had Ruben Brown on this show, 2 weeks ago, and he brought up something that it kind of blew my mind a little bit. Where he was like, you go out and you get some nice veteran people who could help coach and teach this offensive line, but you can't give up on a young offensive line because the Bears have the youngest offensive line in the NFL, and they are all talented players. They just need to learn. Would you go out and bring in the best left tackle? Who's in Orlando Brown? Is that who's in there right
Orlando
now?
Brown,
Orlando Brown, but he's in $17, $18 million. Would you bring in somebody like that, or would you bring in veteran type help who's going to help compete with this offensive line and coach them up a little bit. Because Ruben Brown doesn't think he did agree with center, as I think 99.9% of Chicago agrees that we need a new center. But other than that, he says leave all your other people as starters and just bring in veterans.
I would say, just bring in some veterans, and then it's like you said, it's a young team. It's going to take some time to develop. It doesn't happen overnight. And this year, sadly, is probably a throwaway year to see where we stand next year, to weed some things out and see what we need. I know the coaching staff definitely needs to up their game, develop different strategies, or we might have to start replacing some coaches here too. Who knows? We might have to definitely start getting some of these coaches out of here and getting some guys who know how to make things happen out there on that field. It's all the better the organization. You want to make sure you make the right moves, and for the team, and also for the community as well, because we get pissed off.
Absolutely.
But you definitely need some veteran guys to light a flame underneath the players, because coaches can only do so much. You know what I mean? Coaches can't go out there on that field and do what needs to be done half the time. So I definitely think that bringing in a vet will definitely help spark some of these younger guys up, give them the momentum that they need, and also a vet that's hungry still, because you don't want a guy who's just going to be lollygagging, just trying to collect a check. You know what I mean? Who definitely won a championship, who want to see a team success, especially the Bears, who's been a fan, or just want to make sure they can help the organization turn around.
Glad you said that, because I want to segue to this. Full transparency, like before, when you got your Super Bowl and everything, we love you. You was a hometown guy. We wanted you to come here when you left. Before you went to Washington and San Francisco.
Trust me, I did too.
So I'm glad you said that, Pete, because look, there's a little rumor going on in the NFL circles. We hung out at a picnic before. We got some mutual friends that played in the league. Is it true about this stigma that players at free agency, they really don't want to go to the Bears, but they'll settle because if the bonus money is right? So is it like a knock to come to Chicago for certain high profile players?
A lot of dudes wouldn't want to choose Chicago because of the weather. That's one of the things. It ain't the money really. It's the weather with some of these dudes, man. Some of these dudes don't. They be like, man, it's Chicago too cold. I'm like, man, toughen the fuck up.
You play in cold weather, you can play in any weather.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you can play in cold, you can play anywhere. But you got some of these dudes who scared of the cold. But I wouldn't say it's any bonuses too much. I wish I would have had the opportunity to play, because what's so funny? You guys' GM, why can't I think of his name? Pace.
No, the new guy is
Pace was before Pace. Yeah. Okay,
so
Pace,
when Pace was
he was a Saint. I forgot about that. Yeah,
he was a Saint. So Pace was a scout guy for us. So he used to give, a breakdown on defenses week by week, here and there to the offensive side. And when I met him, actually not met him, but I want to say I ran into him or his wife. It was on a plane to Chicago, and this is when he got the job. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't with the Saints anymore. And I reached out to him. I said, hey, Ryan. I said, hey, if you need a vet, because he respected me and I respected him as well. And I appreciate, everything he did for the Saints and, the scouting reports that he did and gave us, because he did his job and he did his job very well. He gave us a lot of information on all defensive players that we needed to know about, and I always talked to him and I said, I appreciate you, and we had a good conversation, and I told him, hey, if you're thinking about getting another running back, a vet, if you need somebody, I'll let your boys. I'm like, I love to play for my hometown. So
we would have loved
it. The thing is that I understand how the game is, and he was like, you know what, P, I appreciate it. But he wanted to start fresh with his guys and his picks and try to go from there. But he said he'll think about it. But I never got that call from him and say, hey, I would like to have you to come out. No, because I would have, trust me, I would have loved to be a part of that orange and blue again. and man, tear it up on that Soldier Field, boy. Because I would have had something to show and something to stun about. Because when we played y'all, when the Saints played Chicago, I made damn sure that I came out here and stunned it and showed my ass out there on that field because I wanted to do it right there in front of my friends and my family members. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Chicago, these guys. To answer your question again, to go back to your question. It's more. I think it's more of the weather for some of these guys, and because if they're a free agent, they're gonna think about the weather. They're gonna want to go somewhere warm. It's nice, especially. I know Chicago's a good city, but a lot of these guys thinking about the weather more than the money.
True.
So do you think it's going to be a good thing for them to move into Arlington?
You say what now?
You think it's going to be a good team for them to move into Arlington, which is probably going to be a retractable dome?
I heard that. I didn't know that was a rumor or not. It is.
Yeah, 2026, it's happening.
I mean, I really don't know.
It's sad traditional to leave Soldier Field, but marketing type wise for a charter franchise like the Bears who still get no profits for stadiums or anything like that, because Chicago just screwed them over forever. Mm-hmm. And now they want to make it right because the Bears just bought Arlington and were threatening to leave. But they still weren't willing to pay them.
It's like Arlington, how many people are going to really go out their way, you know? It's going to be different.
I'm going once just to experience it.
That's the thing.
JB, you can stay at my house, dude.
It's going to be a different feel. Some people are going to love it. That's close to Arlington, you know what I mean?
15 minutes.
You got a lot of people who's going to be like, oh, what the fuck? You know, so they're not going to really like that. And then, you know, you had downtown Chicago that's right there where Soldier Field is at. So
you're not going to beat that view.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be a lot of people are going to hate it, but who knows? I mean, it might be the best move. We don't know yet.
Good for them marketing.
And that's probably how they're looking at it.
Well, and they want a Super Bowl.
It's a financial move.
Yeah. They want a Super Bowl there too.
It's always about money.
But remember, they can do what these other franchises are doing, like Vegas and SoFi. They can have concerts and venues year round. All that revenue goes to them.
Yep.
That's what I think the end game. It has nothing to do about tradition with this particular move, in my opinion. But I don't know shit. But anyway,
you're absolutely right about that.
I'm good. I'm glad to hear you say that.
You're absolutely right about because that's usually how it goes. You know, with some of these organizations, it's always about the money move. Mm-hmm. What's going to drive in the most money? You know.
And I think also, and you could speak to this too, because I always like to ask specifically running backs or wide receivers: did the field conditions in Chicago suck that badly?
Yes.
Because everybody said yes. Yeah. Every single person said yes. And that's another thing. In Arlington, Chicago was never willing to put good grass and good turf or anything in there for the Chicago Bears. Never.
I mean, I don't think it was for the Bears. I think it was really just to throw your opponents off.
Some Bears players did admit that. They felt like they did have home field advantage sometimes.
Yeah, because that field was very thick. And I grew up playing with TF South. Their field was thick as well, too. So I kind of grew up playing on that type of, turf, that field. So a lot of guys didn't like that, and a lot of guys didn't know how to run on that, and they would slip and fall. I didn't do too much slipping and falling because I knew exactly how to run. You got to stay low, and you got to be flat-footed when you run on that type of turf. You can't be on your tippy toes and cutting too much because that grass is so loose, especially if it's snowing and it's wet, because I know they heat up the field as well.
Yeah.
So it'll basically get wet and soft, and you'll easily slip right up underneath yourself. So it's kind of advantage for the Bears for them to have that type of field, because it was tough for a lot of guys, not like myself, but a lot of my teammates to actually run on that. They complained a lot about the field. And I'm just like, look, man, you can't really talk about the field. You got to fucking play the game.
You got to play the
game. You can't cry about it. You can't whine about it.
Absolutely.
Hey, Pierre, before we let you go, man, we're gonna introduce you to another hometown hero that we have coming on tonight to highlight us real quick. You might be familiar.
You should be familiar
with the NBA champ, probably one of the best shots, at least in my lifetime, that I've ever seen. You know, you got Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. I was about to say Chris Jackson, but that's not his name no more. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. You got Steph Curry. Well, he was our guest. He was Steph Curry before Steph Curry was Steph Curry. His shot was like butter, just butter. So
pretty shot.
We're gonna bring him in, Mr. Craig Hodges. If you didn't know
his
name.
Peace,
How you doing?
Mr. Craig.
How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm good, brothers. I appreciate y'all, man.
So we got two hometown heroes right
Yes, sir.
now.
Yes, sir.
Two hometown heroes.
Homegrown.
And, Pierre, he played football for the New Orleans Saints. And he was a cruiser, man.
Hey, don't feel bad, brother. I played for the San Diego Flippers.
Oh, wow. San Diego Flippers. Woo.
I didn't even know that was a team.
Hey, Coach, that's what y'all used to call each other?
The Flippers, man.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Wow. Hey, I can't really talk about the Aints, man. I wasn't part of that era.
Good.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm part of the championship era. So
That's true. You were a part of an era where I always rooted for the Saints. Always.
Excuse me.
Yeah, back up.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, I always.
That went out the window with like Bobby Hebert and them. Like they started making the playoffs, and then Aaron Brooks and them guys. So you can't call them the Aints. You can't call them that no more.
Well, we appreciate you having the time to chat with us, P.
Oh, definitely. Thank you, fella, for having me.
Yeah,
I hope we can do it again, brother.
Oh, definitely. We definitely will.
All right, man. I'll be in touch with you probably tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
All right,
you fellas have a good one.
Pierre Thomas. All right, homie. Mr. Craig.
What it is?
What's going on, Mr. Craig? How you doing?
Man, I'm keeping it simple, brothers.
So are you still in Cali?
No, I'm in Chicago right now.
Oh, you
Coach, you home?
I'm at the crib.
Okay.
What's up? Okay.
How y'all doing, man?
We doing all right.
Good.
Before we get into anything basketball, I want to know. Last time we spoke, when can we see the doc? I'm anxious. I'm anxious, Coach. Come on.
Right now it's in some type of quasi creative battle between the studio from Britain and the studio in Hollywood. But I'll make sure I get you guys a copy of. I have a promo. I'll make sure I send over to you guys so you can check it out.
For sure.
Absolutely. Now, wait. When you say a struggle, like as to like when it's gonna air or like streaming services or something, because
well, the studio that did the actual shooting of the documentary, they actually optioned my book to do a documentary and feature film. They're out of Britain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're out of Britain, and they found a company here in Hollywood that wanted to back it with the money. So we shot the documentary, and the people with the money didn't like what we finished with the final product for whatever reason. So it's a creative battle that I'm like, for me, it's all gravy, man. Because my main thing was doing the book, and once I got the book,
because you was promoting the book first, and you don't need all that Hollywood because you was telling the truth.
And my thing is, once some things you have to let it take a life of its own. And that's what I found when I wrote the book. When I wrote it, I was just thinking about getting it into the library and into Barnes and Nobles as a legacy for my children and grandbabies. But mainly, once it takes a life of its own, you just back up and, especially when it comes to that Hollywood and the whole creative side of it, I'm out of that part of it. So I'm just sitting back, doing what we need to do on a day-to-day for, getting this unity piece in order.
That's what's up. That's what I wanted to hear. So yeah, keep us posted for sure. Because I was on pins and needles waiting. Like I know it's coming.
Right. Yeah. It should have been out for me. I thought it should have been out by the time basketball season started because we finished it last August or something. So there's plenty of time.
So I have a burning question, Mr. Craig.
Yes, sir.
what made your shot so automatic? Like, I
That's
watched.
a damn good question.
Yeah,
I think,
like
you know,
the 3-point contest, it was
It
just
was like a
automatic.
magnet on that ball.
you know, it's so crazy. When I think back about the whole training, the training of it, and you look back at your career and you look back at your life, and when, you know, for me, it started on the school ground in Chicago Heights, shooting at twilight, right before the sun went down, having no net on the basket, just having a rim. And I trained my eye to just, you know, literally 6 inches above the rim is what I teach now. You know, I'm not looking at the rim. I'm not, you know, when I ask people what they're looking at, some people say back of the rim. I'm looking at the loops on the net or whatever. But it's being able to focus your eyesight. You know, you want to know where your ball is going. So you know, that's the first thing is what I'm looking at when I shoot the ball. And then secondly, I think it's you know, it's the mechanics of it all. I have a principle that I teach. It's called foundation, form, and follow through. And you know, the base of your shot, the foundation of your shot is the beginning of it. I call that the trigger point. That it's not like I'm going up trying to dunk a basketball or go after a rebound. I'm just making sure I have a good solid foundation to be able to go into my form and finish into a nice, you know, like you said, a nice smooth follow through and leaving my follow through there until the ball goes in the basket. And so many times I watch young people when they get their ball is in this, their wrist is in this position. And if you watch pros, immediately, if you watch, regardless to where they get it, they're in ready to shoot position. And you know, Tex Winter taught me so much, Lord rest his soul, when I got to Long Beach State about, you know, I shot the ball when I came out of high school, man. I shot a laser beam at the basket. My ball didn't have hardly any arc on it. And we worked on just, you know, leaving my arc out at the basket, which is basically having a nice high follow through at the end of your shot and holding it there until your ball goes through. And your follow through can tell you a lot about where you went wrong on your shot, whether it's off to the right or to the left. And I tell people all the time, you can knock me off my foundation, you can hit me in my form, but I have to have a strong follow through regardless to whether if I'm finishing at the basket or a 3-point or at a distance of 22 feet.
Wow. Have you ever thought about coaching in NBA? Because the Bulls surely need you.
You know,
he did coach in the NBA with the Lakers.
Yeah, I was shooting coach for the Lakers.
With Phil.
Yeah, we won.
That's right. I forgot about
that. I wasn't even aware of that, actually.
Yeah,
I forgot about
two championships. Yeah, we won 2 chips. It was cool. It was that was probably one of the best basketball experiences I've ever had. You know, to be able to work with Kobe Bryant on the daily, to be around, you know, Phil again, Tex again, and you know, the cast of characters that we had. It was a perfect storm, you know, from a coaching standpoint, similar to what we had when I was playing. So for me, it was a great basketball experience. And, you know, when you talk about coaching, for me right now, when I look at the way the game is played, if you came in and, you know, it's almost similar to when the triangle came in 90 when we brought it back. It's the same situation now. The game is positionless. It's going through different phases, you know, and I think right now it's that point where, you know, everybody bites off of what the champions does. So when I look at how teams are, everybody bit off of what Golden State does as far as shooting threes. Analytics took the game over. So you have a positionless game now where everybody's launching threes, even though your personnel doesn't fit that chemistry.
Like the Bulls. Yeah,
and they, you know, when I look at the Bulls, man, you know, and I literally, and it's bad for me, but it's not bad because to me, I'm a purist of the game, man. So when I see some of the stuff that's going on, it's hard for me to watch. So I haven't even watched any games, really. I haven't watched. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to watch the game, and when I do watch it, I find myself being a little bit too analytical about it, especially like you say from a coaching standpoint. To see, you know, when I see players do certain things, it's just you know, I know Texas tripping like, man, what kind of basketball is this? Because everything.
So, Coach, let me ask you this because I know, you know, we go way back. Richie's 1992. We go way back. What is it like right now? Like, why does it look like basketball is like a video game to me? Am I the only one that really like thinks like that?
I agree with that. That's a good explanation.
Nobody play no defense.
No defense.
You know, and that's the part where I feel like when we went into the bubble, I think that's when the video game really kicked in. It was magnified at that point. Along with the video game is the gambling, So now you have the tie-in where the economics that were lost during the time of the bubble, where you didn't have people in the stands. Now you have, when I was playing, we're doing everything in their power not to have gambling associated with the game. Nothing was done in Vegas. Now, you have training camps in Vegas and the like. So, and the team will be there soon. So it's one of those things where it's the evolution of economics more than it is the game. And I think, when we look at it that way, we get more clarity as opposed to trying to think of it as being this or that. Nor for what it is. It's about economics. And so when you look at the game, you have a lot of, to me, we have a lot of, it's commercial. And it being commercial is, like you said, it's no defense. I'll probably start watching it at playoff time, because I know at playoff time you have, all of the dressing is cut off of it. And now it's about, you got to play defense to win.
Yeah,
and the paint.
Got to play half court. Absolutely.
Exactly. So
you don't have personal days off either.
There you go. So it's one of those things where you have a certain part of in the energy that's at that point of the season where, you look at, you go back to 1984, 85, 86 through 90, you had the top tier players not taking days off, and I think the league was just as strenuous. I think it might have been even more strenuous because half the time we were flying commercial prior to charter. So, I look at the game from that standpoint that, it's more economics than it is the actual sport of it to me.
So capitalism that crept in our love, man.
But that's in all sport, man. You just look at it. You look at the amount of money that's being paid, and I'm kudos to the players about it. But at the same time, we have to look at, like you say, why is that? And what links can we tie in? So when we can tie in video games, when we can tie in gambling, when we can tie in fantasy and all of this kind of stuff,
it's all tied in.
Yeah, it's all, you got all those different revenue streams, and that's what it's about, economics. I have a young cat that I've been training since he was 9 years old.
Okay.
He's at Yorkville Christian Academy. He had 41 tonight. He's averaging 40 points a game over his last 6 games. And he's a straight A student, So for me, it's one of those things that, a young man like that is going to get an opportunity, Lord willing, barring injury and that kind of thing. So that's the generation of player that I'm working with to get them to realize, the head part of the game, that it's not just about you going out, like with him, he can shoot threes all day, but like I told him, why shoot 3 when you can get to the line? He's 6'5", so most of the people, and you have handles of a point guard. So he went to the line 19 times tonight, and he was 18 for 19 from the line. So that's the type of output that we have to have. And my thing with him is, put it all on the line and go as hard as you possibly can. And that's one of the drawbacks, I think, of young people watching how the pros play the game. You see, it's almost like they're playing in the AAU energy. It's not you see some, that's why I love Russell Westbrook. I love Russell because he plays the game regardless to what his attitude might be at a time or who may be messing with his head at a time. Don't get in front of him going after a loose ball. That's all I'm saying. And that's
he works hard all the time.
And those are the players. And I love Kawhi Leonard as well, but the only thing with him now that with the injuries and stuff has been a lag on his playing time. He and Giannis. Those are the players that I look to as and LeBron, of course, because he is what he is. But it would be fun to see LeBron playing during our time, even against a guy like Horace Grant or Scottie Pippen, just to see what
we have those debates all the time.
Coach, come on, talk about
Dennis
that.
Rodman.
Talk
Dennis
about that,
Rodman he was like, I could guard him easily.
You mentioned about the travel because the commercial people, for people that don't understand, y'all wasn't going first class. I feel like Jerry wasn't paying for that at first.
No, we were. In fact, it would be, an average trip would be we play Seattle on Friday and we play New York on Saturday. So, and the thing about it, you didn't get finished until you didn't get out the locker room back to the hotel to 12:30. So you have a 5 o'clock wake up call to fly cross country for a game that night. So you were flying cross country next to somebody with them and their baby.
Right.
You'd be like, yo, sister, can okay, it's all good.
Then you go from New York messing with them boys.
And then the cold part is when you get there, you got to stand there and wait for your luggage.
Yeah.
So
and at the same time, you guys did not take days off.
No, and that's the thing. So you have to respect. That's the thing. When one of the players that for me was a grinder was Sidney Moncrief. When I look at
that was Milwaukee, right?
Yes. When I look at Sid and the injuries that he played with, and always had the mindset that once I'm on this level, that I'm not playing for me, I'm playing for the fans who paid to come to watch me. And I think a lot of that is lost now because players have so many different income streams, So, you have a shoe contract, you have a car contract, you have all these contracts that, man, if I'm hurt, I'm hurt. So a lot of the hurt that players might have felt in the 80s, they knew that their contract was on the line, so I got to go play.
Right. Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Compared to contracts now that people say that.
You have a contract now. If I get hurt, man, why I'm gonna go out there and play?
And that's the thing. Like, I'm not trying to call any person that made it soft.
Never.
But the physicality that we grew up watching you all play through, along with the commercial travel, along with the 5 a.m. wake ups, along with all the things that came in, the lack of true relaxation regimens, the lack of true, all this scientific stuff that they got going on now, Coach. You all were just built different, in my opinion.
And the cold part is I stop. You look across the sports. You look at a Gale Sayers.
Mm-hmm.
You look at a Roberto Clemente. You look at a Willie Mays. And then you look at in these different sports, like you said, the technology, the enhancements, that put the asterisks on the game and that kind of thing, and then you have those different eras where it was the purity part of the game. I look at the purity of baseball, from the 50s through the 60s, you know what I'm saying? Where you actually saw how the game was played and the players who are playing today are basically being, measured by the esteem of guys like Willie Mays and Hank Aaron. So it's that type of thing where, it was a certain same way with our game. I look at our game and I say, when I look at the time frame, just that the 1979 Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, the game was in an economic downturn because NBA was considered nothing but Africans. So now we have to have a way of the economics of who's buying the tickets. We have to couple this thing to corporate America. And how do we do that? We have the perfect setting for America at that time was a good guy and a bad guy.
Okay.
So you got Bird on one coast, Magic on the other coast. And my question always is, how the hell can these two teams get the top two players and you got the most history franchises, but the flip of the coin right or whatever, but it was a perfect time for the league to be able to have that East Coast, West Coast battle. You got white versus black. So now we have the size, size can be measured up in so many different ways. And we can have this shoe battle that created the economics off the court for players. When you talk about what Michael's done, what Tiger's done, but you can look at that battle right there with Converse and, limousines for the feet. You know what I'm saying? So, and Dr. J was wearing them. So you had an era that brought in economics as well as media. Media was able to have something to tie into where TV revenues went through the roof. And that started.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So you saw
it was manufactured, is what you're saying.
No, and then you don't look at it. It's not just manufactured; it's well thought out. It's not organic.
No, it's definitely not organic.
Organic. So you stop and you go back to Jackie Robinson. That wasn't organic. If it was organic, it would have been Josh Gibson.
Right. First and foremost. Right.
And Satchel Paige. You feel me? So it's different things that are, like you say, manufactured. And I said, we have to give, give praise where it's due, man. Those who have been in charge of things have been wickedly wise about their movements and understand the impact of the talent that they have, how to be able to have, and this is the part for me, is the collusion that happens every day in professional sports, where the wealthy agents and the wealthy owners have children in school together. So when we go to this PTA meeting, when we go to this bar mitzvah, I was at a wedding, okay? I was at a wedding with one of my teammates, and the agent and the owner are sitting next to each other. Now, the cold part about the agent was the agent used to be general counsel for an NBA team. So now you slide right out of that general counselship into agency. So now you have a direct connect to all the ownership. And they know you by name. They cool with working with you. And they know that you're going to bring players that are palatable to what we're trying to get accomplished.
That's collusion and tampering.
All of this collusion.
See, and this is the wild part is that within private corporations, you can do it. Because
that's not frowned upon, but if I speak on Twitter that I want to play with you, it is.
Come on, because look at it. Okay, your rights as an individual. LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, who we talking about? Okay, your rights at that arena. When you walk into that arena, now it's a privilege to put the uniform on, and with that privilege comes certain ramifications and duties and standards that have to be met in order for us to meet our bottom line as an organization. And when you say something that is counter to what the company line is, and the company line is all across the board. So one of the things for me is the NBA has this social committee or some job they call it, but you don't call McMood and myself to be a part of it. So the problem with me and all of these discussions, all right, they never get in touch with the people who racism affect, all right? You talk around it. You don't talk to John Carlos. You don't talk to John Carlos, who when he came back, doing nothing wrong but speaking on behalf of people who are voiceless.
Right.
He comes back, and based on the pressure that's put on him and his family, his wife commits suicide after that. But how many American people know that? But we can commiserate with somebody else, but the pain and suffering of, and think about it. How much money did you make for the United States when you go to the Olympics? You know what I'm saying?
It's $1 million buy-in.
It was good enough for me to make your team and wear your uniform. But now, my upbringing, my culture, I can't carry that with me into my celebration afterwards. Okay? And this is the part where your media is opening up a whole nother level of consciousness for people, man. So when we look at when I grew up in 1968, my uncle was in the regionals for Bloom High School. All right. We listened to it on the radio, man. All right. The young brother that played tonight, his game was streaming live. Okay. When I was a young man and I watched the NBA was tape delayed. The finals.
Channel 2, CBS.
Okay. Let alone you only got a game during the season after Christmas. Then it was once a week. You feel me? So you had a certain creativeness and imagination that you had to recall because it wasn't any instant replays. So you had to recall what a player was doing on the fly and then go out and try to train on that, not being able to go to YouTube and pull it up and see how he did it, and let alone that, pull up your own game, go to Twitter, go to Instagram, see how many followers you have. And that's the part where the young brother that I'm talking to now, that I'm working with now, I don't want to see your telephone. I don't want you, any coaches that hit you, get it to your parents. We ain't
You
dealing
want
with,
to come to work.
we ain't dealing with that right now. What we're dealing with right now is you being a straight A student. You can do your social media stuff after the season. But right now, it's not about these games, it's about training. And if we get your training level up to a point where you're going as hard as you can, every time a ball is, whether it be practice or a game, you're taking it to that next level every time. Then that way you can come out of high school with a professional mentality, and you have coaches from West Point tonight, Cornell, and all these schools want you. That's easy money. And where we are now within the game, if you give me 35 a game, there's no reason why you shouldn't be in the NBA draft.
Nice. Yeah. Makes sense.
No reason. And that's what my thing is with them, is that your grade level is such that we can do that online with you being in the league. But for me to send you to somebody's university and like me and my son were talking about this, consider this, a football player. Did you play football, Frank?
I did not play. I played in high school, like freshman, sophomore year.
Check it out, though. Think about this. A high school football player, say you second tier player, you're going to have to sit for 2.5 years before you play in college. My son was calculating how many hits you take as an offensive lineman before you even get a rep. And we were saying, we had a young kid at Rich East, George. George is probably 6'2.5", probably 285, rock solid. All right. But didn't want to go to college. And we were saying, man, that's the type of kid that if you could take him and train him for 3.5 years, nothing but training, nothing but the fundamentals, the techniques, and all of that. Now, when you're 22, now let's go take some hits. Because I get the NIL thing and the name, image, and likeness, but how many players are still going to be left on the fringe of that?
Yeah,
the majority, actually.
Yeah.
And that's it again, is that we have a cooperative situation. And this was always funny to me, even like right now. The stock market is going down. Yeah, but because I'm a part of a collective bargaining situation, they won't allow me to pull mine and put it in the hard assets. You follow me? So we should be able to pull mine, but because I'm part of this collective group, but dig this, you know who ain't part of the collective group? Michael Jordan. Ain't that heavy?
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, I thought it was an NBA pension.
You see, once again, let me show you how it happened. When he put the love of the game contract in his contract,
okay,
how could that happen in a collective bargaining situation?
No, because you just isolated an individual.
Come on. You feel me? And that's the part where we say, like we say, brothers, that when you come into it, it's a privilege. And those are some who have more privileges than others.
You made another Michael Jordan rule.
Come on. You think about this. You going in the arena and see who jerseys are in there. It ain't gonna be more than 2 or 3 of the players that are gonna be on the court. The rank and file player, my jersey. In fact, a friend of mine, we have a company called B Manufacturing in Chicago. He makes sports apparel. He has my jersey. His cousin goes to a Bulls game, and he has on a Craig Hodges jersey. People are stopping him every 10 steps. Where did you get it?
Yeah.
Because one was never put out. You feel me? Yeah. And you think, just for me as a corporate head, why would you have a jersey for every player that played on your championships? Why wouldn't that be a line?
I would think because every person resonates differently with an individual player.
And that's the part. And that's the part where we're working on a project called Celebrate the Players.
Because I tried to buy your. So for I don't even know if you know this, but for like a small limited time, when you came to the 3-point contest and they had just the white NBA with the 14 on it, they tried to sell that, but it was like, I'm just being funny here, but it was like 10 of them. Like we couldn't go to JCPenney's and get it.
Oh no, you ain't know, and that and like even to that level, I was coaching at Chicago State, and I go in like you say Penny's and go downtown, and you see DePaul, Northwestern. And so I went to the president. I was like, man, why don't we have a licensing agreement where we can put our job out here?
People would buy your jerseys right now. I mean,
come on. And that's
you know I wanted one always. So
Frank still got an Ed Neely jersey.
I do.
Still have your Ed Neely jersey?
Yeah.
Man. You know, and me and Ed Neely got some history. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Yeah, he was like, wait, this guy?
It's crazy because Ed Neely and I were teammates in Phoenix.
Right?
Yep.
Then we get traded for one another. He left Phoenix and then he came back to Phoenix, and I got traded for him from Chicago. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
I don't remember that part, but I do remember that you and Ed Neely had a little more history than that, I believe.
Refresh me.
I don't really recall, but I know I had a conversation with my uncle, and he told me something about he used Craig Hodges and Ed Neely in the same in the same conversation. So I'm trying to think of exactly what he said, but he said something. He might have even said what you just told me, but in a different way, that you all were traded for one another.
Right. Yeah, but we never had no beefs. We was always.
No, y'all never had beef.
No,
I don't think you had beef with anybody in the NBA.
Man, look, you know the crazy part for me, man, is it's truly one of the things where you have happy to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Knowing, and that's one thing for me, man. I knew for a fact that this is fun, man. You know what I'm saying? It was fun. It was fun to be able to see where your talent stood up to everybody else's. And I was speaking the other day, and I made the point to young folks how you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to win on every level that I played on from 8 years. I started playing organized ball at 8 years old. And every level, man, I just, I was energetic, enthusiastic. Oh, we going to win. Not. And I didn't win. I didn't win until I got to the NBA, man. So it was funny. I'm a rookie, and Bill Walton is the, he's the old head and the vet. And we 80 games into it, man, and I'm jumping around the locker room like we getting ready to go to playoffs. And all right, slow down, man. We ain't going nowhere, man. We got 2 days left of the season, so chill on that energy stuff. But it's one of those things. I tell you, man, you have to have energy and enthusiasm not only in sport but in life, brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But Coach, what was that? When we were at Chicago State, you used to preach about the free. Remember, you used to get on me about the free throws.
Mm-hmm.
About the free throws. So just for our youngins, because what I've noticed is they're so in love with the three and the I don't know, the James Harden move or whatever.
The travel, the 4-step travel.
One thing I'll never forget at Chicago State was at camp. You hated when people missed free throw, or no, I'm sorry, took free throws for granted.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yes, and that and that's the thing. They call them free for a reason. It ain't too much in life that's free. And in the game, you ain't gonna have too many opportunities where somebody ain't trying to put a hand in your face and all of that. So my thing is being able to, we have a thing in saying that, stationary. You're getting open stationary jump shots. You should be 85, 90%. And the same thing at the free throw line. That's an open stationary. You got 10 seconds to take your drive, so take your time and lock in. And I think so many times, like I was telling you, how many guys start with their ball cupped?
Right.
That is
We wasn't having that. We was all like this, no matter what your form was. We was all like this.
That's and that's the starting point of it, and I think that's and where your balance points are, man. It's shooting. I love to talk about shooting because it's a lost art, and a lot of people think that it's just throwing the ball at a basket. But I tell people it's a lot of training involved in it, and I think if you know what you're doing, you can be a good shooter.
Coach, speak on it, please, because this is very passionate for me with you. Just because I shot 500 threes and made 137 of them don't mean I'm a great shooter. That's called volume, right? So
right.
There was this stat. I have to bring it up. There was some internet praise because Draymond Green passed Michael Jordan in made threes. What kind of blasphemy is that? Well, you're not going to tell me, you personally, coach, my coach is not going to tell me that Draymond Green is an adequate three-point shooter. But what are we talking about?
Everybody wants to pass up Jordan in everything.
And once again, my MJ is a standard, like you said, in so many different realms. And then, like you say, 30, whatever you shooting from back there, man, you got step on the squad. So don't even bring up 3 points.
27. He shoots worse than Russ.
Man, and but see, once again, Tex One, that's why I love Tex. I was with Tex One for 4 years, and he would have all of these sayings.
You talking about when you was at Long Beach?
When I was at Long Beach.
Yeah.
And the saying that this one covers is mediocrity to the mediocre is excellence.
Say that again. That's profound. Mediocrity
to the
mediocre is great.
Excellence.
It's excellence, not great. Oh.
Right. So if all you expect is mediocrity, hey, that's good.
I'm good.
That's good. I'm straight.
So if he put MJ at the level and he ain't trying to outshoot Steph, you tripping.
Right. Right.
Talk about rebounding.
Right. Look. Talk about triple singles.
Talk about taking charges.
Do they even do that anymore? They just flop. They flop and fall and take a charge.
And the crazy part is when like you say, when I think in terms of the NBA, everything that you talk coming into it from a defensive end is team defense. Help the helper. So we helping triple down the line. You ain't seeing none of that, man. You ain't seeing none of that.
Olay. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll say
Olay. That's what I see.
Goals that we have right now is when we lost Lonzo Ball, I felt like our team defense was just gone. It was just gone because he was like that defensive guy who picked up everybody else around him, made sure everybody else was in the right place. And when we lost him, our defense is shit.
And like you said, he didn't mind playing it.
No,
so
he played hard.
If you see him go hard at it, I'm gonna go hard at it because I ain't gonna be out here looking shabby when we go to film session. when this man beat him, I ain't helping him, but when mine beat me, he's helping. So it's infectious, man. So I feel for the Bulls. I feel for Chicago more than the actual team because the team is.
We need to feel everything for Chicago. Every sport is in the shitter right now.
But the thing is,
we hurting. There's no Doberman defense.
You see what you're saying? See what you're saying? You saying you're hurting. You're hurting. Yeah. But
collectively.
But is ownership hurting?
Oh hell no! Because
because we're still watching and going to every single one of their games.
Look, I'm still buying apparel.
Ownership getting paid. They straight. They good.
So
if there is one sport where we can literally say I feel confident in it is the Bears because we have a quarterback.
Exactly. Now
that's the only confidence I feel like.
I was watching Florida and Florida State.
Okay.
And one of them had a line that averaged like 385. I was like, the Bears need to go buy that whole line.
Right? Jesus, man, we need the beef.
Bring the whole line. Boom.
With as much money as they have, they can. They can.
And that's the thing, man, is for me, it was coming home to Chicago to get a chance to play and then to get a chance to win and see how much the city thirsts for winning. you know, and how much they're gonna support either way it goes. But once you start to move towards that position where you can wear your gear anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, and they're gonna be like, yeah, y'all, y'all number one, and well, yeah, we.
Coach, you brought that to us. Come on, you brought that to us.
You know, and
like, you know me when we talk. I hate to just say it's Michael because that wasn't the truth.
Right.
I remember when Michael was getting beat up in Detroit, and you had to come off the bench, and you was the second leading scorer on the team. Now let's talk that truth.
You know, and that that's the thing, man. Where it's so many times where, and I was listening to someone, and they were talking about the part that it was a guy by the name of Michael Franzese. He was a mafia guy.
Okay.
They was talking to him, and he was saying how the part that he missed was the camaraderie with the guys. And that's the part to me that was so cool was, you know, we can go through our whoopings from Detroit and then get it to a point where everybody, MJ included, everybody became selfless and did exactly what we were capable of doing every practice, to every game, to the point where it wasn't no doubt that we were the best team running. And we had that mentality going into every arena, probably, man, 1991, when we were getting ready to win, I would say February of that year, it was like every time we walked on the court, it was a feeling that, you know, invincibility. And in practice, it was like our second unit felt like we were better than the first unit. So it was every day it was, you know, to the point where it would be sometimes we would come to practice and Scotty would be like, hey, Phil, put me with the second unit. I want to go at him today.
So and like you, BJ, Cliff,
and it would be
Scotty, Scott Williams. I'm speaking.
It would be a change where he would put Cliff with the first unit and put Scotty with us.
Oh,
and then Scotty would go at MJ, and it would be one of the things where MJ wouldn't, you know, we'd be getting ready to line up, and MJ wouldn't even know that this is coming, and then Scotty would turn his jersey and all right, let's go, and it'd be okay, and it'd be one of them runs where it'd only be 10 minutes worth. It'd be 10 minutes worth of practice because Phil be like, it's two. Hold up, time out, shoot free throws.
Compared to this, all the great players are on one team nowadays.
Too intense. It'd be shut it down because you say this for tomorrow, you know, and then we'll be trying to hang around, play one-on-one. No, go home, you know, and that's the part where, you know, when I talk, you know, people call him the Zen master, but for me, it's, you know, probably one of the best manager of people I've ever been around in as far as realizing what, you know, every single person around him, staff and player, what they bring to the table. So when we were winning, you know, it would be Johnny Bach would be our defense. Johnny Bach and
I remember Johnny
Bach and King Clemens, they were our defense, and Tex was our offense. So Phil would be sitting on the sideline, you know, most of practice. Only time he would probably interject would be when he would change the lineup, you know. But other than that, it was like you stop and you think about what he put around him. You know, everywhere he went, you know, LA included, he had at least 100 years of coaching experience in the NBA on the sideline. So how can any young guy come back? You know, it was funny. Jordan Farmar was one of the first rookies that I worked with when I was with the Lakers.
From UCLA.
Yes. So he comes in, and you know, he's a brash young brother. He's been getting the hat of the ball in his hand, go at people. So season, you know, we're in preseason, and the guards on the other team, they got a point guard situation. We got two guards, so you can't go back at them because they coming at you. You got to run through our scheme, bro.
Right.
And he gonna come to me after we come back from Hawaii and ask me, man, when you gonna change this? I said, change what? He was like, man, this triangle ain't working. I was like, brother, it's won championships, man, and it ain't gonna change for you. So let's get on these drills, and I can show you where you can be effective and get your game on and just be a good, happy camper, because it could be somebody else here real quick, and Phil won't even flinch if you ain't with the program. So get with the program. And once again, fell in line and won, you know?
So it sounds like then Phil was basically the manager of the people.
Absolutely.
And the assistant coaches actually made the train run, so to speak.
Yeah, and when you stop and you think at the beginning of the season, they would split the schedule up, and each coach would have so many teams that they would scout. And when it came time for their game, they would step up to the board and give us, what the game plan would be. And then them as a coaching staff, the main guy for each game would be who was formulating that game plan. So everybody had their responsibilities, and Phil was cool, where it would be Jim Clemens sometimes, it would be Frank Hamlin sometimes, it would be Johnny Bach sometimes, and they would come up there and drop the science, and at the same time we would have our game notes, what was expected of us as players on that given game, and they would throw out little, what is so and so going to do, Hodge, and I'd have to know what Isaiah was going to do on a given night. So it would be, just to keep you on your toes and know that, and that's the part where what I'm talking about young players is that it's more than just physicality, man. At least when we played, it was it was a certain part that was a
cerebral,
a thinking part of the game that if you couldn't comprehend some of the basic places where we want you to be and that kind of thing, it was going to be rough for you. And a lot of guys, they are so athletic, that fundamental skill drills are mundane and boring, that you're not working on it. It's going to be hard for you to get playing time, man, or improve, especially within a system like the triangle where certain things are necessary that everybody has to have it.
Sacrifice for one and intangibles for two.
No question. And I think that's the part where, as players, the sacrifice is organic within the game. Plays dictate that. Plays will dictate whether or not it's on me to run down here or whether or not it's on me to dive after the loose ball and keep this play alive. So everybody has that responsibility first to the game. And what, I tell young players this too. It's not about you running plays. It's about you making plays and being able to play within the confines of what's happening at the time. Tex would tell us all the time that it's a 5-on-5 situation, but at every point it's going to be 1-on-1 within that.
So to me, it sounds like you're kind of like the Mr. Miyagi type coach. So in saying that, I'm saying that you want your players to understand technique and why they're doing what they're doing before we get to fight, before we shooting and all that. I want you to master the technique. So I want you to make sure that you have your hand like this before you shoot.
Right.
I want you to have correct form before you shoot.
And see, the thing is when you think in terms of going into your shot, it's a universal athletic posture, man. When my knees are bent, whether I'm playing shortstop, whether I'm getting ready to hit a golf ball, whether I'm getting ready to hit a baseball, I have to have my feet can be close together because my balance is going to be off. I have to have my feet about shoulder width apart. My knees are comfortably flexed, but I have to make sure that when I go into my shot, my ball always has to be above my core. I'm never letting my ball drop below my core and pull it back up, because now I go from here, the margin of error is from here to the top, where now from down here, my margin of error has created a lot more room for a lot of stuff to go wrong. So we just try to make sure we take away as much. And I tell young folks this too: if you watch an NBA game, you'll see pros operate with so much less wasted motion and energy. So a lot of young guys, you do a lot of stuff that are histrionics going into before your shot, whether you're at the free throw line or whatever, where pros are about. I think about Larry Bird at the free throw line. They'll get it to him. He'll feel the ball and just let that thing ride. Right. You know what I mean? That it wasn't a whole lot going on. And I think so many times within the game, less is more. The less you do, the more effective you are. And so many times we're doing a lot more thinking it's effective. Like when I was working with the D League with the Knicks, and I come into training camp, and it's a guy on a computer and another dude setting up these things that look like radars on each side, on each corner of the court. And I'm like, ooh. I walk over to a dude on the computer, man, what is this? He's like, every player has a chip in his shirt. And that chip can tell the output of the players. So it would be a chart where it's showing all of this kind of stuff. And I was like, And he's like, what you thinking? I'm like, so if I go in the corner with that chip on and I jump up and down on this chart, it'll make it look like I'm doing something. But what am I really doing if I'm just running around and it's got my heart rate up and all of this, but it's not really telling whether I'm making a defensive stop or whether I'm back on defense or I'm sprinting in the lanes. It's not telling me any of that. But once again, the economics of creating jobs.
Okay, because I was about to be like,
around
how you raised us.
Around this analytic thing. Even to this point, show you how crazy it is. New York was so crazy, man. That was one of my worst experiences in basketball, literally.
Really?
There's no way they could win. They'll never win. Not why the owner runs the team the way he does. He runs the team as though it's a corporate entity as opposed to a basketball facility. So I'm with the Lakers coming to New York. We had a D League team with the Lakers. They would hang out and watch us practice so they could draw on the triangle, talk to Kobe, talk to Lamar, talk to Powell, drum on their brains or whatever. There it was totally separated. The NBA and the D League do not touch one another. Okay, whatever that's about. So remember when all the stuff was going down with J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert?
Yeah.
I remember that, yes.
Okay. Now, do you know they wanted me to, when they got ready to shoot, that I had to fill out a triplicate report about the drill work that we're doing after practice. They, on the other hand, they got to review my report and comment on my report, and we got to turn this shit in. Excuse my French.
So it's like it's school.
Now, you got here these guys, man, they ain't feeling that. No, I ain't feeling it. I'm not feeling it. You trying to ask me, I get a memo from Dolan asking me to figure out a system to show that the triangle is effective. You know what I told him? Wins.
Like duh.
Wins and rings, man.
When you win, you know it's working. You know, right? It ain't no, you want me to how many speed dribble, man? That's elementary school. Passing against the wall. Come on. This ain't pro. So every player on the New York squad has a driver because you're in Manhattan. But the practice facility is out in Westchester, out in the subs. So J.R. Smith goes out and hangs out all night, right? Comes to the game, wobbly or whatever. They tripping on him. He can't understand. How they know where he at? Dude, they sending the driver to you. They tell the driver's gonna tell them where they took you all night, man. So it was It was little stuff that I was like, let these brothers go ahead and just play basketball and do what they do. You're gonna have a better result. As opposed to trying to rein people in, you're gonna have them in these little bitty boxes and you think they're gonna come out and perform for you. No, they're gonna just get paid. You feel me? It was ugly, man. And I love Carmelo. I love Carmelo. However,
this is gonna be good. Get it.
However, work habits, I didn't agree with.
As in laziness or as in
I was gonna say
technique.
I heard he was kind of a lazy bastard.
It was about just getting it in. You feel me? I was with Cole. I was at MJ. We getting it in. And I'm like, but a gamer. But for when the system came in, it was like he could have got, super busy. With that squad they had, they could have been extremely.
You talking about the squad with him and Amari?
Melo,
Amari. Yeah. They had the other brother, Dalen Bear.
Samuel Dalen Bear.
Yeah, I remember him.
Oh, yeah.
They had all the tools, but what they didn't have was Tex Winter or Craig Hodges. So And Phil was taking like a hands-off approach. So if you know Phil is like this. Phil's office is right off the court. The window is always open, all right? But it's dark. Only way you know if Phil is in there, and he won't tell nobody unless you've been with him, is the candle will be burning. And if the candle is burning, he watching, right? So the candle will be burning, and I'm standing there, I'm like, ooh, I know Phil is hot in there because I'm watching what's going on in the court, right?
Right.
5 minutes later, door opens up. Here he comes. And I'm like, man, why don't you just go ahead and coach? Why don't you just go ahead and coach? You feel me? Because the people that Fish had around him, he had just came from OKC, all right? You bringing in guys who don't know the system, Fish, all right? So I'm watching while y'all in the coaches meeting because I'm with the D-League.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just sitting back watching. I'm watching the varsity squad, right? So as I'm sitting there watching the varsity squad, I'm watching my triangle drill work that I've known since 18 years old. I'm watching your guys out here in pre-drill work that we've done with Derek Fisher being done totally wrong. Now, Fish comes out, and I'm telling him, Fish.
But Fish ran the triangle, didn't he?
It's a difference.
He was the point guard.
Listen to me. It's a difference in.
You ran the Laker triangle.
There's a difference in running it and knowing how to implement it.
Oh. Enough said.
Gotcha.
All right. So now I can play in it, know where I'm supposed to go. But now, how do I get us from the locker room into this system? You feel me? And it starts
it clicked. Yeah.
It starts from the locker room. So when you have guys teaching the fundamental principles wrong, we can't change this job. We can't change this job 2 weeks down the road, bro.
No, it ain't gonna work.
We can't reel it in. We can't take, see, like this. If you ever notice how Michael and Kobe were always at the elbow.
Yes. Either side. Yes.
Now, and if you watch, they caught that ball with their foot on the corner of that elbow of the free throw line. All right? Every time. It wasn't a foot off or a foot in. It was on that elbow. Because that's spacing that we have to have in order for that guard to turn the corner.
Right.
Y'all teaching it wrong. It was crazy. I'm watching this and I'm like, Fish, they're teaching it wrong. Oh, we'll get it together, Hodge. Now, that's him thinking, as a player, we can hone it in because you're not knowing what we done did as a staff with the Lakers, that when y'all get a little bit out of kilter, how we reel y'all in.
Yeah, right.
But we just reel y'all in and you're under the player mode of one of the ones to being reeled in, but you're not understanding the basic continuity of how this thing has to jump off in order to be able to know when you can let somebody go one-on-one, when you can pull it in, when you need to call a timeout. So it was crazy just watching the nuances of the system being shortcut and then wondering why you're not getting the results. Yep. Now, it was so crazy. The D-League we started just like we did at Long Beach State. All right. First 6 games, first 8 games, we were like 6-2. Now, Madison Square Garden being who they are, every game from that point on was televised nationally on Madison Square Garden Network for a D-League team. Crazy.
That's unheard of.
Wow.
Well, then it was unheard of back then. Yeah.
Crazy. Every single game. And I'm talking about it, and we played 50 games. So the next 42 games was on national TV.
Wow.
Langston Galloway.
Like for sure.
You heard of Langston Galloway?
Yes.
Yeah, that was one of my students. Him and Thanasis Antetokounmpo. They were both with me in New York.
Older brother.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ask you a crazy question, Mr. Craig.
Yes, sir.
Who is the best shooter in NBA? But why? Why? What is he doing similar to what you did to make him such a good shooter?
You talking about now or all
now?
You talking about Steph? Of course. Steph
Yeah. That's the crazy part because everybody's going to take Steph.
Yeah, Damian's shooting that thing too. Lil
got that blood, DC blood.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man, is that you look at it's a lot of training involved, brothers, and and that's the thing where I give kudos to the brothers that's putting it up. I give kudos to Steph all the time, because I understand what you do to be able to do that thing and to be able to know why your ball goes in. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's in being a shooter is knowing your ball is going in most of the time before you even shoot it.
That turn around in midair.
And and then you have to give, and like I would have loved to have had ultra green light like that, where when you go, sitting in the locker room, I'm gonna say, you know what?
And you did lead the league in percentage 3 times. So
but once again, it was a different time, and our time was like this. It was, I look at Steph, he shoots maybe 12 to 15 a game. All right.
Oh, volume.
Yeah. So if back in the day, if I would have shot 12 to 15, it'd taken me 3 to 4 games, easy. Maybe 5.
Maybe 5. I want to say maybe a little more.
Because the way the game was played then, I would think like this. For instance, consider this. If Steph Curry played on the team with James Edwards and Rick Mahorn and came down doing some of that stuff that he's doing right now,
they'd slap him.
He wouldn't have no teeth. Because, hey, Brandon, it ain't going on like that. Look. And then you have those players where I grab a rebound, I get it to you, and by the time I get to half court, you done shot it from 30 feet. You know what? I got something for you. I'm going to get this rebound and I'm going to hold it. Let everybody go down court here, man. Come get this thing. Now, wait till I get down here and pass. And see, that was us. Think about how we were taught. We were taught from inside out.
Inside out, yeah.
So I played with Bill Walton, James Donaldson, Alton Lister, Randy Brewer, who else? Bill Cartwright. Will Purdue. And our thing was immediately, even to the point where with the Bulls, we would establish our post with Michael. In most games, Michael started our interior offense, and then he would go to the elbow, and Bill would come to the post. But the majority of most games, we started with Michael running right to the block and seeing and getting them to come double or whatever right away. And then he would establish our post. But the biggest part to me is on the other end, man. When you watch the game, man, I tell people, I give kudos to the teacher, Bill Cartwright. We would not have won the championship without him defending our paint.
Facts.
I would have loved it.
Bill wasn't a bad player when he came from the. Bill was a good
post shooter. I remember he was a good post shooter. Yeah, that crazy.
Hold on, but do this, do that wind up like you just did, but finish with a nice follow through. That was
he did have a nice follow. It was always the exact same.
By the time he got it around here, this is wind up. Right. Yeah, man. Bill, and that's what I tell people too, is I would have loved to have seen Joel Embiid versus Bill Cartwright.
Ooh, that'd be a nice one. Which era?
Right now. If I'm saying however you want to play it, but let them both be physically fit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was saying era, because you can't be that physical.
Because you know the thing when I look at like
touch fouls,
when I look at the pick and pop and all of that. I still say that, a lot of times this generation forgets how athletic our generation was.
Thank you.
They really do. They really do. They really do. Even to the point where it's like, man, I tell people, man, some of the things that, James Donaldson, all right, his strength was incredible. I saw him pick up dunk a basketball and his cheerleader sitting on the standard, and he lifts up the whole standard with the cheerleaders on it. And I'm saying, I would have liked to see that strength against some of these young cats who, they want to dribble it. Man, it would have been a certain physicality that they were going to have to deal with that.
Moses.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness. And see, that's the thing where, okay, Joel Embiid picks and pops. Mosley goes to the block. You're going to have to come deal with that.
You're going to have to come see him. Yeah.
And that's going to be, man, when I think about, man, just what's my brother's name? Man, Lucas. That's fast. Power forward. Maurice Lucas.
Maurice Lucas, yeah. Portland, right?
Incredible athlete, where he would have been able to play in this era like no other. Certain players
were strong and mean.
Strong, fast, and that's the part where it'd have been fun to watch.
So, Mr. Craig, before we let you go, man, what were some of the hangout spots you used to hang out when you was a bit younger?
Man, it's so heavy. The Riviera.
The Riviera. The Riviera. Was it Cliff Levingston's back then?
That's right.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
I went to Cliff Levingston's Riviera a few times. I was underage though.
Oh yeah, it's a big man. We had a that was our after the game spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on Broadway.
Yep.
I had some memorable times at the Riviera.
Yes,
real memorable time.
Appreciate you, brothers.
Hey, we.
Coach, I gotta ask you before we leave. Yeah. I wouldn't be me, and you've known me forever since I was fucking 14. But but I have to ask you this because your knowledge, your intellect, and your passion for the game. Have you thought about getting back into coaching in the NBA ranks? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, no shade, because I know how you operate.
Right.
Can we get rid of Billy Donovan and you come home, man?
I would pray for that one.
The thing about that is and it's like this, man, is I look at it and coaching is easy. It really is. It's easy. It's so much as and like you were saying earlier, it's putting the responsibility on players, but it's only one way you can do it. This is how you got to do it. And I know Billy didn't do it. Don Nelson taught me this, okay? Everything is condensed now. So you only have maybe 8 days of training camp, right? They would hate me in training camp.
We need that.
You would hate me in training camp because training camp is going to be nothing but defensive slides. Nothing but defensive slides and suicides. So you're going to be high with me? I do not care because we are going to play some defense. Now,
because you're in every single game if you play defense.
Once we play defense, and it's going to be a thing where we're going to know how good a defense we're playing because we're going to be charging defense more than we charging the offensive end.
Yes.
So we're going to be getting how many deflections we're getting in the night, how many times we're touching their ball, how many times we're getting help from the weak side, how many times the helper from the weak side is getting help. Those are the type of things that we're going to build our championship on. Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing that, to me, I don't know if Billy didn't win that champ. You know what I mean? You got to win to know. You got to win to know. And winning.
College is different. We know.
No. I'm talking about where you are, where we are right now. NBA. Okay? Once we get our defense set, with them brothers that we got on the squad right now, and what's the tall white dude? We got that man.
That's kind of like where we're going with this with Donovan, though. And I'll bring up the last game where they lost. He had 8 points in the first quarter. He was in the post 10 times.
Right.
He was in the post 3 times
in the
rest
second
of the game because they did not run a play
for him. Once again, the way the game is being played. It's being played almost like a jazz concert, and we all just jamming. Ain't no, you play the sax, you play the drums, you play the guitar, and we just gonna jam. I don't know where you might go to, and that's how it looks sometimes. Like when
it looks very helter-skelter.
Like when it becomes a thing. Like, okay, It's almost like they playing your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn.
And it's like isolation, your turn, my turn, your turn.
Exactly, because it's like this. Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan don't know how to get off together. And part of them not knowing how to get off together is because the system is one where it's not predicated on anybody but the person with the ball, looks like to me.
Yep.
Motion one ISO. I don't understand it.
And see, my thing is, check this out, and I'll give y'all this one. This is why you win. Okay? The triangle is 3 things: ball movement, spacing, and player movement. When the ball is moved, players move.
That's why Golden State is so great right now.
And see, check out what Golden State is doing. Golden State is using only basically one part of the system.
Yeah, and you can't stop it.
The movement.
And you know what they're doing? They come into that wing and they dribble handoff. When they hand off, it's a pick being set coming back to the middle. For the life of me. San Antonio did it. Okay? They all bit off a text. All right? Because think about it. When you look at how many triangles, how many championships the triangle has won in total, or people have bid off of it and won over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of rings under a portion of the system dribble handoff with San Antonio and Golden State. But you know what nobody do with them? Don't nobody ever trap that job on the sideline, do they?
No.
Have you ever seen anybody trap it on the sideline? Why?
They're always retreating.
Yeah,
Why?
they retreat. Yeah.
It doesn't, brother, it is so simple. When I look at that, I'm like, when I was watching San Antonio, I think they played Miami or somebody in the finals or something. And I'm like, trap it. That's why in the triangle, we don't bring people together like that. Because when 2 come together, at that point is a perfect time. You got 4 people in the space of 2 feet.
You're bringing the defender to the
Clamp it off. Don't let it get back to the other side of the court. Let's see what they do on that side.
We got more people in the chat saying, why aren't you coaching?
Because you know why? This is the real reason. Basketball is one thing. Life is a different one. All right. When we ask about the quality of life and things concerning that, and you have a certain viewpoint that's not palatable to those who control things, that's why I don't have a job. It's simple. I mean, ain't no reason I shouldn't be on the Chicago staff. Should have been. When I was out there, no reason. Ain't no reason. Derrick Rose, I should have been with Derrick Rose the whole time he was here. The whole time. If I was with Derrick Rose the whole time he was here, he'd still be here. Because he never should have got out of Chicago. Never. But once again, that's this whole thing, and that's, I would love to coach, but I'm a purist of the game, man. And right now, what my mindset is? I would love to start my own league. Start my own league.
All right, there's hey.
I would start my own league and do it on a level where, start with young guys, start with 19, because that thing that ball did, it was a great idea. He just didn't have the funding. It was basically just for him.
He ran out of money. Yeah, big time.
But it was just for him and his sons. But I think that, it's a certain viability to young guys coming out, especially now with this name, image, and likeness. How many people thinking about staying for 4 years anyway?
They're not.
So
half of them millionaires after 1 year.
Man.
So, get that money and go.
That's it. So it's just thoughts, man. But I would love to definitely love to coach, man, because I think that I would take LA. We would win the championship for 4 years straight with them. But the team that would really be cold in triangle is New York, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
With Durant leading that.
And see, every space.
You know what's so crazy is that would change Ben Simmons' life.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
That system would change his life.
Yeah, his weaknesses would be limited.
Because he needs to change.
He would be doing.
Because you take the ball out of his hand and get him in movement.
No, even the thing is that, see, this is the wild part about triangle. We are running as much as we can for numbers. 5-on-4, 4-on-3, 3-on-2, 2-on-1s, as much as possible. Texas' philosophy is if we can run 90% of the time, later for the system. You feel me? Later for it. Because we work on, believe it or not, so much of what we work on is working and playing to numbers. So get this thing and let's go. Now, if the defense is back, we flow into triangle. And that's the difference. When people say, oh, you're running triangle. No, we're running to numbers. And if we don't have numbers, now we flow into our system. So if we don't have numbers right away, I can hit the wing and go through. But if I got numbers, now we got a 3-on-2 break because both wings are running. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's certain things that would, just open up. Like when I look at Ben Simmons' game, he reminds me of Lamar Odom.
I can see that.
You feel me? Who has a great feel for the game, needs space to play out of, and can be very effective from a whole lot of different areas. So if you ever
can facilitate all that.
If he has a mismatch, we can put him on the block, and now we can run it through him inside. And that's the part to me when we watch the game. If y'all watch the game, how many passes do y'all see that actually cuts interior, whether it be from the wing through a backdoor step in the middle of the court, or from a wing to the post, and then people move off of it, and you ain't seeing none of that. There's so much as dribble, pick, give me a pick.
They dribble the air out the ball.
Oh, man.
Three-pointer.
Oh, yeah. We got to have it. Yeah, brothers, but I appreciate y'all, man.
We appreciate you.
Just let me know when y'all want me back.
Okay,
always,
Coach.
I'm going to talk to you.
Appreciate you always. All right.
Be blessed, man. Peace.
Awesome having Coach on here, man.
Always.
Very knowledgeable. Very
knowledgeable. Jesus.
Yeah, man.
He's gonna have me working on my game at the courts now.
Remember, keep your hand.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure my hand is down, and now I am gonna completely change that. I'm pretty sure my hand's always down before I shoot.
You always got to create a pocket. Always. Like I tell you that, like Frank, I chatted you behind. Terrence knows this already. The reason I can shoot like I can shoot is because in 1992, 93, that man came back to my high school and come here, young blood, and spent about a whole 40 minutes with me and my mom.
That's ridiculous.
Just changing my jump shot. And that's a phenomenal brother right there. Like that's my coach.
Kudos to coach, man. But man, this is a great podcast, but we should continue the conversation that we were having before Pierre came on the podcast, and we were talking about the Bears' chances of winning on Sunday. And JB, I believe you said none, and so did you, Frank. Well, you're saying none now.
I actually said -2, so I think I gave it the benefit.
And I said, well, when they step on the field, there's always a chance.
We'll take it this way: if there's ever a chance, it's because the Eagles lost the game. That's the only chance. The Eagles will lose the game.
Well, on this one, if you look at Getsy's tendencies, because remember what I told you all in the chat to catch them off guard with Justin having like 30 to 35 attempts. But if you run that same wide receiver screen, halfback dive, halfback option, Justin running, that plays into Philly's favor, especially over the last couple of weeks, because thank Kimberly and Washington Bell. Thank you. We appreciate the love and you coming on. Thank you. Appreciate that. That plays right into their hands because Philly has one of the most formidable front sevens in the league, and they also have a top 7 secondary. So it's like, look, I'd rather live by the air than die by the run at this point, right? But I don't know.
Well, for the Bears, it seems like they're going to die by any of them. they're going to die by the run, and they're going to die by the air.
I mean, I actually agree with JB. They should try to just catch them off guard.
Catch them off guard.
And just start lighting it up early in the air. 15, 20-yard passes, slants. Would love to see some freaking slants here. Like, I would love for them to see them do that. But I don't see
One
that.
thing that I have to put out there, only because these last 5 games we want to see improvement, right? Am I wrong for wanting to see Alex Leatherwood a little bit at left tackle? Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
No,
I wouldn't mind it. I think he should start the whole damn game.
A lot of people want to see that. A lot of people
just a little bit. And kick Braxton on the inside, just a little. Just a taste.
I mean, you're not going anywhere. It wouldn't hurt to try to make some changes and see what's going to work.
Because with him, in my estimation, because he is a former number 1 pick. I want to say 11th overall, something like that.
I thought he was a little later than that.
17th, right? Something like that.
I think it was like 17th, 18th.
Right, to the Raiders. But that's still a high caliber top pick, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Left tackle, higher than Braxton Jones. Right tackle, higher than Larry
17th.
Borom.
Yeah, 17th pick.
Riley Reef is banged up. Why not? Because now,
why not?
If you plan on keeping him next year,
what you
might have a diamond in the rough, as to where we always say sometimes a change of scenery can do a whole lot of good.
He played pretty good in that last game.
I think he played, and I never saw him as an interior lineman myself.
True, yeah.
Because watching him in Alabama, he was just kind of like the Broad Street Bully. He was bigger than everybody, stronger than everybody. And even Nick Saban was like, wait a minute, y'all drafted him in the first round? That's what gave me pause. Like, your own coach from the top-notch university is like, he shouldn't be a first-round pick. I'm like, wait, what? So now he's got a chip on his shoulder. Let's use that to our advantage. And if he's got any skill, like I said, left tackle, right tackle, the reason I don't want to keep him at guard is because I think the guards are solidified with Whitehair and Jenkins.
Didn't he play right tackle last week, though?
He played a couple different spots.
Yeah, he played guard and tackle. I thought he played better at right tackle.
He did but that's what I'm saying. Like, Riley Reef being banged up, but now are we dismissing Larry Borom?
Well, Larry Borom had the concussion issues a little bit ago, but he's ready now. But I mean, you saw him the whole first half of the season. Like, I mean,
in my opinion.
But I mean, I agree. I'd like to see
Borom and Jenkins were good enough to continue to make a tandem.
Agreed.
So I want to we're going to have 2 different predictions.
Okay.
Because I think that it is a strong possibility that some of the starters on the Eagles are not going to play. They are not going to go super hard.
They're not linked in the number 1 seed right now, though.
They
have to. No.
Are they linked in number 1? I thought they have to win this one, and they're linked in.
No, I thought they already were.
They clinched playoffs last
playoff,
year.
Not the number 1 seed.
Not the number 1 seed. They clinched.
You want the number 1 seed. They're not going to lay down.
Because the number 1 seed gets you a bye, and then it's 2 wins to the Super Bowl.
Because they're in the same division as Dallas, right?
They're in the same division, but so listen. Philly is 12-1, so they lead the conference, the NFC conference.
Right.
So they currently would have
I thought they clinched it already.
They clinched a playoff spot. They didn't clinch
playoff berth.
Okay.
Because remember, they still have to play Dallas.
Yeah.
Like,
and
Philly, if I'm not mistaken, 10-3 is Dallas 10-3.
10-3, yeah.
And the Vikings are 10-3.
Yep.
So
So I don't understand how anyone can take that number 1 seed away from them at this point.
Because it's 5 games left.
Yeah, there's
4 games left.
Four games left.
4
games left.
No one is within striking distance.
Well, they're only 2 games back.
They're only 2 games out.
2 games back, 4 games out left.
And Dallas, they have to play Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if they stumble now, let's say
Philly already beat Dallas once, right?
Yes. So let's say they lose to the Bears. They're 12-2. Let's say Dallas wins out. We get to that matchup. Dallas wins. they both can be 13-3. I think it is going into
Before
that
2
last
games left,
2
yeah.
weeks of the season. Yeah,
So Dallas is what? They're 10-3 right
10
now.
and 3.
10-3.
Yeah.
And Minnesota is 10-3.
Minnesota 10 and 3 as well.
Yeah, it's not lock, stock, and that's why I'm saying the gimme game, they have to win this game. Philadelphia has to win this game.
Tiebreakers go by if they played against them, or it goes by divisional record after that, right? And the fact that
divisional
Minnesota
record is not going to play into because they all are over 500, including the Commanders.
Okay.
Giants are 7-6 on the outskirts, so they still have to. Matter of fact, I think they still have to play one of those two teams plus Dallas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Philly,
then we're not going to
the
do
4 games. Philly's got to play 2 divisional teams.
We're not going to
That's what I
do
thought, right.
2 different predictions. We're going to do one prediction.
Okay.
Because we're going to assume that all the starters, at least most of the starters for Philly, are going to play. So we start with you, Frank.
What's the question?
Frank. The question is
what's the question here, though?
The game prediction.
Oh, fuck. Prediction, I'm going to go 38-27 Eagles.
Okay, high scores. You took the over, clearly. You took the over.
Fields is going to have another 50-yard run.
Okay. Me, I'm gonna go a little bit lower because I have seen the Eagles not fly and soar as high against some mediocre teams.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, Jalen Hurts is phenomenal, by the way. I kind of see it around that 24-17 range.
Yeah.
I do, because here's the thing. As much as I can't stand Getsy, running with Justin Fields and the threat of the pass kind of keeps Philly's offense off the field. And
control the clock. He's been controlling the clock.
And giving them less possession. That's why I said
your defense to make stops. If you're
there you go. And hopefully Gordon and Brisker are back this week off of concussion.
They had full participation.
And then Jackson, I don't know what he had, an ankle. What did he have?
I don't even know what happened with Jackson. I didn't even hear anything about Eddie Jackson.
So I'm still giving the Eagles the win, but I don't see the blowout. I don't see the blowout, especially like if our secondary is intact. So give me 24-17 Eagles.
Before the season, I was awfully optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
I was awfully optimistic. And JB, I know you remember this. When we went to the draft party. Was it the draft party? It was
No, the schedule release.
No, yeah, that was
the schedule
release.
release. I was very optimistic. I was excited about Justin Fields. I was excited about the young players that we had. I was excited about the young players that were in the draft that we were predicted to get, and then after we got them, I was excited that we got them. Mm-hmm. All of that to say, I thought we would have beat Philly back then. But right now, there's still a chance when you step on that field. But I will say that Philly plays a way better brand of football.
Oh, they got way better talent to do that with.
Yes, they have way better offense. They have a way better defense. So I will say that it will be very tough for the Bears to win that game. That being said, and I never do this, but I have to put my money against the Bears. So I'm gonna say that the score is gonna be somewhere around 24-7.
Oh, 7.
Damn.
I was gonna say
move on that one.
24-3. I was gonna say 24-3, but I do see Justin Fields maybe running for a touchdown.
Wow.
But
I mean, the Bears have played some pretty good defenses and still put up points.
it's not gonna be pretty, I don't think. But I mean,
I am very anxious to see a little bit more Fields and Claypool.
They can always surprise me. But
I want to bring this to you because if you look and break down what the Eagles do, I know, Frank, you're going to laugh at me. This is the game slot-wise. Oh, my God, Ma, for real?
Damn, man. I mean, it's better than what T said, though.
Right.
At least you gave him 21.
Can we have – because Slayton is a beast. He's a problem. Can we see some Velvet Jones in the slot?
I would love to see Velvet Jones.
Because remember, Mooney is out.
I would love to see Velvet Jones, period.
Mooney is out. I don't, unless you plan on keeping Pettis for some type of veteran leadership. I've seen enough of Pettis right now.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he is your return guy, though, right now. Doesn't he do punt return?
He can stay on special teams. I'm not.
Okay, so you are still saying dress him. You just don't want to see him as a
no. Because he's been playing some slot. Like, I want to see Harry and I want to see Claypool on the outside. Either side. I really want to see Velvet Jones and that slot on quick hitters, slants, double moves. Because when is the last time we saw a freaking post corner? When's the last time we saw?
I didn't even know that was in their playbook still.
That's my point. We spoke about catching them off guard. And right now, with the speed that Velvet has,
Velvet looks good when he has the ball. Velvet looks good when he has the ball. We're wasting him because what we were clamoring all season, all of us, he runs one route very well. And he's only ran it and got the ball thrown to him once, which he's dropped. To me, this is the game because now when you got 6'4", 6'4" on the outside, the top two corners got to come up. They got jump ball capabilities. Velvet should be opening up that slant.
Thank you. One-on-one with a nickel, a linebacker, or a safety.
Like what we were doing with Bird last year and everything like that. That quick little hit right down the middle and let his speed just blow everybody away.
Yes. So
we just haven't seen that picture.
That's why I said if we could get Justin in that 30 to 35 attempt range right now, let's go. Let's get it. Because right now, running against that front seven is going to be it's going to be tough. And I have full faith in Monty. I do. But damn. Go on and let Velvet spin real quick. What are we having him for if we're not?
Right. We're wasting his rookie year, and he's a 26-year-old rookie. That's not a rookie.
He don't have a lot of age type. He got a lot of tread on the ties, but he's in his athletic prime. And in that slot, if he could be something, and I'm not saying that he's the answer, but see what we got with him now. Because guess what happens next week? Don't we go to Buffalo? Ain't that the number
do the same thing? Those quick slant hitters.
Ain't that the number 3 defense in the league?
Yeah.
With a top 7 secondary? Like, what are we doing?
Right. So we got to see Velvet.
We
want to see Velvet.
I can't believe I said that.
Hi, I'm Velvet Jones.
Just get used to it.
I can't believe
bringing him back.
I never say Velvet. I call him by his name, Felix. But anyway,
I mean, I did like seeing him line up in the backfield a little bit too when Herbert went out. It didn't really help, but I did like seeing them try something with him.
Remember what I told you a couple of weeks ago about Debo and how that wasn't going to be sustainable, and now he's hurt.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, everybody gets freaking hurt now.
But you can't run that dude up the middle, man. Come on.
Oh, you're 100% in that. Debo's got to be around the outsides. Same with Velvet.
Shanahan no better.
Let's get into some shouts, man.
Oh, Dark Spectre, better late than never.
Yeah, Dark Spectre, where you been, homie?
Dude, you just missed 2 great guests, man.
Pierre Thomas, Greg Hodges.
Yes, sir.
Greg Hodges is going to have me sitting there putting in the basketball work at the gym now.
So, JB, why don't you go ahead and kick off the shots?
No problem. First and foremost, I want to say shout out to Craig Hodges, one of my former coaches in life, basketball. Shout out to Pierre Thomas, who I've had the pleasure of kicking it with on a couple of outside events. Hey, 2 for 1. 2 great guests, 2 great sports, homegrown talent. Shout out to them, both of them brothers. Made an impact. Can't wait to have them back and speak to them on the show. Love those guys. Shout out to you all because we were a 3-man crew. We did what we do, you know. Hopefully Foulmouth will get back right and be back to his raunchy self. Yeah, I said raunchy. Y'all look it up as a word.
Big stiffy. I missed the big stiffy. You want to know something? I will be able to watch this at work tomorrow.
Right, because we didn't.
Yeah.
Pierre only cursed, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
No, I think I cursed.
So far, every single episode that Foul has missed, I have been able to watch at work. Every single
wow.
one.
Look.
So maybe it's just his name, Foulmouth, is just freaking. They know it's coming and they're just cutting it out.
La 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 7 minutes F-bomb. Can't watch. And then shout out to moms because you know that's my A1, that's my heart, that's my soul. SV always checking in, even with you know. Don Spector said he just got back to the crib a few minutes ago. Well, still, hey, thank you for checking in, even though you got home late. We appreciate the love. Shout out to a couple of new people in the chat. Kimberly Ann Washington, thank you for the love and respect. Ava Morrell, thank you for popping in. Ken Huss, thank you for popping in. We have a couple of, new people. One thing I want to point out to you guys, right? Can we really, really shout out Easy? Because, hey, these highlights are on point.
Absolutely, man. He's got some nice highlights for sure.
Shout out to you, Thomas Law, because you are one of our new ones. Love to see you, man. Continue on. Continue chiming in the chat. We get you on. Just because it's one of those things where it's like, for those, in my opinion, that are on the chat, in the chat, that have never really seen our guests play or perform at their respective levels, seeing what Pierre Thomas did was like, wow, man, that dude can play.
He was one I rooted for, even when he played the Bears.
Absolutely. And next time we're gonna have to tell Easy to get some of them Craig Hodges, because I'll be like this. Hey, Craig Hodges might be able to outshoot Steph. Real talk. That man hit 19 threes in a row in an NBA 3-point contest. It is an NBA record that stands to this day. 19 in a row. And we talk about
Steph. I don't know. Steph Curry ain't topping that one, man.
Look, we talking about Steph.
Must.
Let that sink in. We talking about Steph.
Right. That's so
tough to beat. Look what Craig Hodges did.
3-pointers.
We talking about Steph. That's all I got.
Shout out everyone in the chat. Quite a few new people who jumped in too. Dark Spectre, hey, better late than never, I guess, man. Happy you were able to chime in. Foulmouth, shout out to you. Feel better, man. Because I guess I can watch it at work, so that's a plus. But still, rather you be on hearing your rants constantly. With your big stiffy comments, even though they didn't play. Maybe that's why he took off, because they didn't play this week. He couldn't rip me on big stiffy. Other than that, shout out to you guys. Great chat. Craig Hodges, man, it was the best. That guy's like a bad. He's knowledgeable. Let's just say it like that. That guy, he knows his stuff. Pierre Thomas was always a guy I loved watching. Only reason I really enjoyed watching the New Orleans Saints was because of him.
I wanted him so bad to come here.
I wanted him so bad too when he left New Orleans.
Perfect.
But other than that, that's all I got. Oh, don't forget about the podcast mom. Sorry. Podcast mom, JB's mom. All right, that's all I got.
All right, well, I'm going to try to keep mine short. so I can get upstairs to my family.
I bought a violin.
I do.
Amazon.
I do appreciate everybody in the chat, all the new people, and old. And got to shout out the A1 mom, Miss Sandra. Thank you. Appreciate you. Kimberly Ann, I'm glad you stayed and enjoyed the whole discussion. Thomas Slav, man, glad to have you, bro. You guys, JB, Frank, wouldn't be no show without y'all. Foul Mouth, get better, man. Get better. Yeah, I miss your rants too with your crazy ass and your soft drinks. your pina coladas and your
With no
Kool-Aid,
alcohol.
man.
His Shirley Temples.
Non-alcoholic.
Right.
pina coladas.
But it ain't the same without you, bro. So
No,
get
it
better,
isn't.
man. Shout out to Hugh, which is a club on Cermak. They are new on the podcast background. So is In the Zone. They are designing some new drip for us. As far as like the polos and t-shirts, they're designing that now, but it's gonna be available to everyone, not just me, Frank, JB, and Foulmouth. So you'll have that ready soon, but they are on the backdrop as well. Moore's Beer, Under Armour. Appreciate all y'all. Thank you. I also want to shout out a new group that is now a part of the Chicago Clubhouse podcast. That group is called Bears Nation. Shy Bears Nation, not Bears Nation. They already deal with us. Well, I want to thank all the groups, but definitely Shy Bears Nation. They have a big group on the south side of Chicago. And they're on board now, so they watch the live feeds and enjoy all the podcasts. And you know what? I was just thinking, like, how many guests have we had on here since we started this podcast?
Ooh.
I wasn't on here from the beginning, so that's between you two.
Well, you used to watch.
Yeah, not from the beginning, though.
Maybe like 200, maybe.
I'd probably say more than that.
I'm about to say, because there was a time before me, so probably more.
Yeah, I would say more, judging by how long this network's been going.
I mean, we've had Tommy Harris, a lot of Chicago Bears, Tommy Harris, Lance Briggs, Alex Brown, Tim Jennings, Bernard Berrien, Dennis McKinnon, the OG,
Eric Kramer, Ricky Manning, Dustin Lyman.
Yes.
Pretty much, if you can name them, we
Ruben
probably
Brown,
have.
Steve Edwards, Kasim Mitchell. We can keep going. And
we can go for days. And then you got Chicago Bulls like Craig Hodges.
Yeah, we weren't even talking about
Kendall Gill,
Ronnie Brewer,
Watson, Ronnie Brewer. And then just Chicago heroes. Guys. Nick Anderson.
Hey, Hall of Famer Warren Sapp.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that was before my time.
Hall of Famer Warren Sapp. So I'm saying all of that to say, if you're not watching the Chicago Clubhouse podcast, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
Even some randoms too. Even some randoms when it comes down to people from the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we've had people from the radio,
referees,
Marty, Tone Capone,
Mark G and Greco.
Come on, man.
Ryan Baker.
Let's not forget Walter Payton's family.
So I have to ask people in the chat, can you share? Can you do something? We have great content on this channel, but we need more people. We have great guests, great conversations, all of that. But we need
let's keep
help.
let's keep it 1,000. Other shows, other networks, other podcasts are not only getting the degree of the athletes and the former people that we're getting, they're not getting the numbers that we get. Let that sink in for a minute.
There are some other podcasts out there that are actually trying to be like us.
Yeah, we all know those people.
Boxing, baseball, Gavin Sheets, baseball,
Gavin Sheets,
tennis,
Caitlin Sharkey,
soccer, media. Like, come on now.
The women's Chicago football team.
Come on now.
The
we
champs.
just had what's her name? She played for the Chicago Sky, and she played for the Blake.
Yeah. What was her name?
I forgot her. I forgot her name. It's on the.
She's probably watching, and she's pissed that we forgot her name right
now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're watching. We forgot the damn name.
Hold on. We even have current players' mothers on the show.
Yeah. We can't forget about Mama Gordon, Kyla Gordon's mother.
Yeah. She chimes in, but she doesn't comment anymore. I'm gonna have to talk to her about that.
We have great content. This is a fun podcast. So like, subscribe, share.
Tell a friend. Tell 10 friends.
Share. Yes. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend that one of the most entertaining podcasts with great guests are right here. Right here. That's all I got to say about that.
Remember when you said you were going to keep it short?
Yeah, I did. I did. I had to get that off, though.
No, it's perfectly said, man. Perfectly said.
Well said.
Great guests, and we got great constant people who are always in here watching us, too. We just got to get the other ones.
I had to get that out. Oh, and another thing I do want to say. We, meaning myself, Tank, and JB, we're always working to make sure that we bring these great guests on. So, man, do us a favor. Tune in. Tell your friends to tell a friend and share the podcast. All right. Now I'm done with that. So, the last shout out, Pops. My Pops. Well, yeah, Pops. But Pops is good. Pops is good. He's upstairs chilling. But I gotta get up. Gotta get up there to him, and it's a joint effort with my whole family. We're making sure that Pops is cool. So, but I appreciate everybody's prayers, everybody's everybody's love. I appreciate all that. But yeah, Pops is good. He's upstairs chilling. And with that being said, I think we done here. Yeah, I think we done here. So I'm gonna leave y'all with this.
You gotta decide whether you're a wolf or a sheep.
Be eating some sheep.
Who's the wolf or the sheep this Sunday?
Yeah, the Bears are definitely the fucking Chiefs.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.
We'll still be rooting for him, though, but it ain't gonna.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.
Peace.
Deuces. We out. Out.